By morning it won't matter what he knows." Caroline Whitmore's voice was ice cold as she held the bottle over the sleeping child's crib. Her hands moved with practiced precision, adding drops of liquid that would silence a 2-year-old boy forever. What she didn't know was that someone was watching. Someone she had blamed for every theft in the house. Someone who was about to risk everything to save a child that wasn't hers. Marcus Sterling installed cameras to catch a thief. Instead, he caught a murderer. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. What city are you watching from right now? Drop a comment below. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you want to know how this ends, subscribe to our channel and stay until the very last word. This story will change how you see the people around you. The phone rang at 2:47 in the morning. Marcus Sterling didn't answer it. He couldn't. His eyes were locked on the computer screen in front of him, his hands gripping the edge of his mahogany desk so hard his knuckles had turned white. On the screen, security footage played in grainy black and white. The nursery, his son's crib, a figure walking into frame. Caroline Whitmore, the nanny his mother had chosen. The woman who had been raising Noah for 2 years, while Marcus buried himself in work, in grief, in anything that kept him from looking at the boy who had his dead wife's eyes. Caroline reached into her pocket, pulled something out, leaned over the crib. Marcus stopped breathing. He watched her add drops to a bottle, watched her shake it gently, watched her lift his sleeping son and press the bottle to his lips. Noah drank without waking. His small body went limp almost immediately. Marcus's hand shot to his mouth. A sound escaped him. Something between a gasp and a moan, the kind of noise a man makes when his entire world collapses in the span of 30 seconds. He rewound the footage, watched it again, then again. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a trick of the light. Caroline Whitmore was giving his son something that made him sleep too deeply, something that made him still and quiet and wrong. His mind flashed back to 2 years ago, Sarah lying in the hospital bed, her face pale, her hand squeezing his. "Promise me you'll take care of him," she had whispered. "Promise me you'll be there for him." He had promised. And then she closed her eyes and never opened them again. Marcus had broken that promise every single day since. He grabbed his phone with shaking hands. His first instinct was to call the police. His second was to run upstairs and grab Noah and never let go. But then he remembered why he had installed the cameras in the first place. 3 weeks ago, things started disappearing from the house. Cash from drawers, a Rolex from the bathroom counter, and then the thing that made his blood boil, Sarah's jewelry box, the one with the antique silver clasp, the one containing the necklace he had given her on their wedding day, the one she was wearing in the last photo they ever took together. Everyone said it was the new cleaning lady, Elena Martinez, the quiet woman who showed up every morning at 7 and left at 4, who kept her head down and never said a word. His mother, Victoria, had been certain. She had arrived at the house 3 days after the jewelry box disappeared, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her eyes sharp and accusing. "I warned you about hiring people you don't know," Victoria had said, standing in Marcus's office with her arms crossed. "This woman, Elena, you know nothing about her background, her debts, her desperation." "We did a background check, Mother." Victoria's laugh was cold. "Background checks don't show character, Marcus. They don't show what a person will do when they see opportunity staring them in the face." "What do you want me to do, Fire her, install cameras, catch her in the act if you must, but get her out of this house before she takes something irreplaceable." Victoria had paused, her voice softening into something that almost sounded like concern. "Sarah's things are all you have left of her. Don't let some stranger take that away from you." So Marcus had called a security company. They installed hidden cameras in every room. The kitchen, the hallways, the nursery, even the garage. Tiny lenses hidden in smoke detectors, picture frames. Air vents. "You'll be able to see everything," the technician had promised. Live feed recorded footage, motion alerts. That night, Marcus sat in his dark office and opened the security software. He was looking for a thief. He found something far worse. Marcus scrolled back through the footage, hours and hours of it. His hands were trembling so badly he could barely control the mouse. There was Elena moving through the house, cleaning the kitchen, mopping the floors, folding laundry in the utility room. She worked methodically, efficiently, never pausing to look through drawers or open closets. She passed the hallway where the missing cash had been kept and didn't even glance at it. She cleaned the master bedroom where Sarah's jewelry box had disappeared and simply dusted the dresser and moved on. Not once. Not a single time did she do anything suspicious. Then Marcus switched to the nursery footage. Caroline entered the room at 2:15 p.m. Noah was in his crib, staring at the ceiling with unfocused eyes. The boy didn't move, didn't make a sound. Caroline pulled out her phone. started scrolling. An hour passed. Then 2. Caroline never picked him up, never played with him, never even spoke to him. She just sat there scrolling, while Noah lay motionless like a doll. At 4:30 p.m. she reached into her pocket, pulled out a small bottle, added something to Noah's milk. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He rewound, watched again, zoomed in. Caroline's movements were practiced deliberate. She glanced toward the door before adding the substance, checking that no one was watching. She had done this before, many times. Marcus's hands trembled as he scrolled back further. Days, weeks, all the way back to when Elena first started working. The pattern was everywhere. Every single day, Caroline was giving Noah something. Something that kept him quiet. Something that kept him sleeping. Something that made him stare at nothing with those vacant, empty eyes that Marcus had assumed were just part of who Noah was. But they weren't. They were symptoms. Signs that something was terribly, horribly wrong. And then Marcus found the footage that made his rage boil over. Caroline standing in front of her dresser, opening the top drawer, pulling out Sarah's jewelry box, the one with the silver clasp, the one that had been stolen. She opened it, ran her fingers over the wedding necklace, held it up to the light and smiled. Then she put it back, closed the drawer, looked around to make sure she was alone, and smiled again. Marcus felt something dark and hot rising in his chest. Rage. Pure, undiluted rage. Caroline had stolen from him. She had let Elena take the blame, and worst of all, she had been poisoning his son for months while everyone pointed fingers at an innocent woman. He thought about the last time he had really looked at Noah. Weeks ago, maybe months. The boy had been in Caroline's arms, his eyes half closed, his head lolling against her shoulder. "He's tired," Caroline had said with that sweet professional smile. "Growing boys need lots of sleep." And Marcus had believed her. Because believing her was easier than facing the truth. Because looking at Noah meant looking at Sarah, and looking at Sarah meant remembering the promise he had broken. His phone buzzed, a text from Victoria. "Are you awake? I need to discuss the Martinez situation." Marcus stared at the message. His mother wanted to talk about firing Elena, the innocent woman, the one who had done nothing wrong. He typed back, "I'll handle it." "Don't be soft, Marcus. People like her don't deserve second chances. I've seen it 100 times. You give them an inch, they take everything." Marcus didn't respond. He turned back to the screen and kept watching. The footage from earlier that day showed something he had missed before. Elena was cleaning the upstairs hallway when Caroline's door opened. The two women looked at each other. Caroline's face hardened instantly. "What are you looking at?" Caroline's voice was sharp, caught clearly by the hidden microphone. "Nothing, Miss Whitmore. I was just finishing the hallway." "Then finish it and move on. I don't like people lurking outside my room." "I wasn't lurking. I was cleaning." Caroline stepped closer. "Let me make something clear to you, Elena. You're new here. You don't know how things work in this house, so let me explain. You clean, you keep your head down, you don't ask questions, and you certainly don't stand outside my door watching me. Understand?" Elena's jaw tightened, but she nodded. "Understood." She walked away, but not before glancing back over her shoulder. There was something in her expression. Not fear. Something else. Concern. Suspicion. Recognition. Marcus leaned closer to the screen. Elena had seen something, or sensed something. He was sure of it. He pulled up another window, found the footage from 3 days ago. Elena was dusting the bookshelf in the living room when Caroline walked through with Noah. The boy's eyes were glassy, unfocused. His body was limp. Elena stopped what she was doing, watched them pass. Her brow furrowed. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, then closed it again. The next day, Elena was folding towels in the laundry room when Caroline's voice drifted in from the kitchen. Caroline was on the phone, her back to the door, completely unaware that she wasn't alone. "He's fine, Victoria. Stop worrying. The medication keeps him calm." Elena's hands froze mid-fold. She tilted her head, listening. "I know what I'm doing," Caroline continued. "I've been doing this for 2 years. Trust me. By the time Marcus pulls his head out of his own grief, this will all be over. Noah will be exactly what you need him to be." Elena's face went pale. She looked toward the kitchen door, then back at the towels in her hand. Her whole body was tense, frozen between fear and action. Marcus's heart was pounding. Elena knew, or at least she suspected. She had been watching, listening, putting pieces together. And she hadn't said anything. Why? Because who would believe her, the new cleaning lady accusing the nanny that Victoria Sterling personally recommended she would be fired on the spot, blacklisted, destroyed. But she had stayed. She had kept watching. She had been the only person in this house paying attention while Marcus drowned in his own grief. Marcus pushed back from his desk and stood up. His legs felt unsteady, but his mind was crystal clear for the first time in 2 years. He needed to talk to Elena. He needed to save his son. He needed to find out what his mother was really planning. The next morning, Marcus was waiting at the top of the stairs when Elena arrived. She came in through the side entrance at exactly 7, carrying her bag of cleaning supplies, her head down as usual. She moved through the foyer with quiet efficiency, checking her list, organizing her cart. Marcus watched her. Really watched her, not the way he had before, when she was just another employee, another face in the background of his grief-soaked life. She was in her early 30s, dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, strong hands that had clearly known hard work, tired eyes that had seen too much but still held kindness. Caroline appeared at the bottom of the stairs. "Good morning, Mr. Sterling. You're up early." Marcus forced his face into neutral. "Couldn't sleep. How's Noah?" "Still sleeping. He had a restless night, poor thing. I think he might be coming down with something." "Is that so?" "Yes, I was thinking we should keep him in bed today. Let him rest. Children his age need 12, sometimes 14 hours of sleep when they're fighting off illness." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Keep him in bed. Keep him quiet. Keep him drugged. "Maybe we should take him to the doctor," Marcus said. Something flickered across Caroline's face. Just for a second. A flash of something hard and cold behind those kind eyes. "I really don't think that's necessary. He just needs sleep." "I'd feel better if a professional took a look at him." Caroline's smile didn't waver, but her voice dropped slightly. "Mr. Sterling, I've been caring for children for 15 years. I know the difference between a serious illness and a common cold. Noah is fine. He just needs rest and fluids. Nevertheless, I want him seen by a doctor." Silence. The air between them thickened. "Of course, Mr. Sterling. Whatever you think is best. I'll call Dr. Patterson this afternoon." She walked away, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Marcus watched her go. Dr. Patterson, the family physician, the one his mother had been using for decades, the one who would say whatever Victoria told him to say. He waited until Caroline was out of sight, then descended the stairs and walked toward the kitchen. Elena was there, wiping down the counters. She looked up when he entered. "Freddy's son," surprise flickering across her face. "Mr. Sterling, can I get you something?" "Close the door." Elena blinked. "Sir, close the door, please." She hesitated, her eyes searching his face for some clue about what was happening. Then she did as he asked. Her expression was wary now, defensive. She probably thought he was about to fire her. "I need to ask you something," Marcus said, "and I need you to tell me the truth, no matter what you think I want to hear, no matter what you think the consequences might be, the truth." Elena's shoulders tensed. "I haven't taken anything, Mr. Sterling. Whatever Miss Whitmore told you, I swear on my mother's grave, I haven't stolen a single thing from this house." "This isn't about the missing items." She stopped. Confusion replaced fear. "Then what is it about?" Marcus took a breath. "It's about my son." Elena's face changed. Something shifted behind her eyes. Recognition. Relief. Fear. All of it at once. "What about Noah?" "You've noticed something. I know you have. I've seen the footage." Elena went very still. "What footage?" "I installed cameras throughout the house. I was trying to catch..." He paused. "It doesn't matter what I was trying to catch. What I found was something else entirely." He watched her carefully. Her hands were trembling slightly, but she didn't look away. She held his gaze with a strength that surprised him. "I saw you watching Caroline," Marcus continued. "I saw your face when Noah passed by. I saw you listening in the laundry room when she was on the phone." Elena's lips pressed together. She was struggling with some internal battle between self-preservation and conscience. "If you know something," Marcus said, "I need you to tell me. Please, he's my son." For a long moment, Elena didn't speak. Her eyes glistened, her hands clenched at her sides. Then she let out a breath, and her whole body seemed to deflate. "I didn't think anyone would believe me." "Try me." Elena looked at him, really looked, searching his face for something. Whatever she found there seemed to make up her mind. "Something's wrong with Noah," she said quietly. "I've been here 3 weeks, and in that time I've seen things that don't make sense. Things that keep me awake at night." "What kind of things?" "He's always sleeping. Every time I walk past the nursery, he's in his crib, eyes closed, not moving. At first I thought that was normal. I don't have children of my own, but my sister has a 2-year-old. His name is Miguel. That boy never stops moving. He runs, he yells, he gets into everything. He throws tantrums. He laughs. He cries. He's alive. Elena's voice cracked. Noah just lies there, like a doll, like something that used to be alive, but isn't anymore. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Go on. When he is awake, he doesn't play. He doesn't cry. He doesn't reach for things, or babble, or do any of the things toddlers are supposed to do. He just stares at nothing like he's not really there, like he's looking through the walls instead of at them. Did you say anything to Caroline? Elena's expression hardened. I tried. Last week I asked her if Noah was feeling okay, if maybe he needed to see a doctor. She smiled at me, that sweet smile she always has, and she said, mind your own business, Elena. Focus on your work, and let me focus on mine. That's all she said. No. Elena's voice dropped. She also said if I couldn't focus on my job, maybe I wasn't right for this position. She said there were plenty of other women who would love to work in a house like this, women who know how to keep their mouths shut. She threatened you. Yes, and it worked. For a few days, I kept my head down. I told myself it wasn't my problem. I told myself I needed this job, that my sister needed me to keep this job, that I couldn't afford to make enemies. Elena looked down at her hand. But then I saw him yesterday, Noah. Caroline was carrying him down the stairs and his arm was hanging limp at his side. His eyes were open, but they weren't seeing anything. And I thought about my sister. When she was little, she got very sick. The doctors didn't know what was wrong. She would sleep for hours and hours, and when she was awake, she would just stare at nothing. What happened to her? A doctor at the free clinic figured it out. She was being poisoned. Slowly, by the lead paint in our apartment. It took months to diagnose because no one was looking. No one was paying attention. Elena met his eyes. Someone needs to pay attention to Noah, Mr. Sterling, before it's too late. Marcus felt something crack open in his chest. This woman, this stranger he had suspected of theft, had seen more clearly in 3 weeks than he had seen in 2 years. There's something else, Elena said. Yesterday I was cleaning the upstairs hallway. Miss Whitmore's door was open a little. I saw her putting something in her dresser drawer, something small wrapped in cloth. What did she look like? Guilty. She looked guilty and scared, like someone who's hiding something they know they shouldn't have. Marcus thought about the footage of Caroline holding Sarah's jewelry box, running her fingers over the necklace, smiling. I know who's been taking things from this house, Marcus said. It's not you. Elena's eyes widened. You believe me. I saw the cameras. Caroline has been stealing jewelry, cash, everything that's gone missing. She put it all in her dresser drawer, and she's been letting everyone blame you. Elena's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. But that's not the worst part. Marcus's voice cracked. He hadn't said the words out loud yet. Saying them made it real, made it something he couldn't take back or pretend away. She's been giving Noah something, some kind of medication. I watched her add it to his bottle. I watched her give it to him. He fell asleep immediately. His body went limp, like he couldn't finish. That's why he's always so quiet, Elena whispered. She's been keeping him drugged for weeks, maybe months, maybe since the beginning. I don't know how long. Mr. Sterling, Elena's voice was barely audible. We have to do something. We have to get him out of here. I know, but I need more evidence. If I accuse Caroline without proof, my mother will... He stopped himself, but Elena had caught it. Your mother, what does Mrs. Sterling have to do with this? Marcus hesitated. He barely knew this woman. He had suspected her of theft just hours ago, but something in her eyes, something honest and fierce and unafraid, made him trust her. My mother chose Caroline, he said. She insisted on hiring her. Said she was from a good family, that her mother and my mother were old friends from their sorority days at Yale. She said Caroline was the only person she would trust with her grandson. Elena was silent for a moment, processing. You think Mrs. Sterling knows what Caroline is doing? I don't know what to think anymore, but on the phone call, you overheard Caroline mentioned my mother by name. She said Victoria. She said Noah would be exactly what Victoria needed him to be. Then this is bigger than just a nanny who steals jewelry. Yes. The word hung in the air between them. Heavy, terrible, full of implications neither of them wanted to face. A sound from the hallway made them both freeze. Footsteps, coming closer, fast. The pantry, Elena whispered. Go now. Marcus slipped through the door just as the kitchen entrance swung open. Elena? Caroline's voice was sharp, suspicious. What are you doing in here with the door closed? Just wiping down the counters, Miss Whitmore. The morning sun comes through the windows and shows all the streaks. I like to work without glare." "You like to work without glare," Caroline repeated slowly. "How fascinating. I didn't realize cleaning ladies had such specific preferences." "We all have our methods." A pause. Marcus held his breath, pressed against the shelves in the darkness of the pantry. He could see a sliver of the kitchen through the crack in the door. Caroline was standing very close to Elena, her posture aggressive territorial. "I could have sworn I heard voices in here," Caroline said. "Were you talking to someone?" "Just myself. Bad habit. My mother used to do the same thing." Another pause. Longer this time. The silence stretched like a wire about to snap. "Have you seen Mr. Sterling?" Caroline asked finally. "His mother is looking for him. She called the house line. She sounded concerned." "I haven't seen him since he came downstairs earlier. Maybe he's in his office." "Maybe?" Caroline didn't move. "Elena, let me give you some advice, woman to woman. This family has been through a terrible tragedy. Mr. Sterling lost his wife. He's fragile, unstable. The last thing he needs is people whispering in corners and spreading rumors." "I haven't spread any rumors." "Good. Let's keep it that way." Caroline's voice dropped. "Because if I find out that you've been saying things you shouldn't, making accusations you can't prove, causing trouble where there doesn't need to be any, well, this is a very big house. Things get lost all the time. Important things. Things that might be found in someone's bag at the end of the day." Elena didn't respond, but Marcus could see her hands shaking at her sides. Footsteps retreating, the door closed. Marcus waited a full minute before emerging from the pantry. Elena was standing exactly where he had left her, but her face had changed. The wariness was gone. In its place was something harder, more determined. The face of someone who had just been threatened and refused to back down. "She knows," Elena said quietly. "She suspects something." "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, but we need to move fast. If she thinks I'm onto her, she might do something drastic." Marcus looked at this woman, this stranger he had misjudged so completely. "Why are you helping me after everything I've put you through, suspecting you, blaming you? You have every reason to walk out that door and never come back." Elena met his eyes. "Because there's a child in this house who needs help, and when I look at him, I see my sister. I see every child who's ever been hurt by the people who were supposed to protect them." She paused. "And because your wife asked me to." Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. "What? I didn't realize it until just now. But 2 years ago, before I worked here, I was a nurse's aide at Beverly Hills General. I was there the night your wife gave birth." Marcus couldn't breathe. "She was scared," Elena continued. "Not of the delivery, of something else. She grabbed my hand while the doctors were prepping her, and she said, 'If something happens to me, please watch over my baby. Please don't let them hurt him.'" "Them?" She said them. I asked her what she meant. Who was she afraid of? But then the doctors came in, and everything happened so fast, and... Elena's voice broke. I never got to ask her again. An hour later, she was gone. Marcus felt tears burning his eyes. Sarah had known. Even at the end, she had known something was wrong. When I saw the job listing for this house, Elena said, "I recognized the name, Sterling. I remembered your wife's face. I remembered what she said, and I thought, maybe this is why, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. You've been watching over him this whole time." As much as I could, from a distance, without anyone noticing. Marcus reached out and took her hand. "Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on him." Elena nodded. Her eyes were glistening. "So what do we do now?" "We get proof, real proof. Something that can't be denied or explained away. And then we burn it all down." A knock on the kitchen door interrupted them. Thomas Mitchell stood in the doorway. The family groundskeeper and driver, a quiet man in his 60s who had worked for the Sterlings for 2 decades. His face was grave. "Mr. Sterling, I need to speak with you privately." Marcus glanced at Elena. She nodded slightly. "Elena knows," Marcus said. "Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of her." Thomas hesitated, then stepped inside and closed the door. "I saw Elena leaving your office yesterday, and I saw Caroline watching her from the stairs. She looked angry." Caroline is the one who's been stealing," Marcus said, "and she's been drugging Noah." Thomas didn't look surprised. "I know." Marcus felt a chill. "You know, for how long?" "I've suspected for months, but I didn't have proof, and I didn't know who I could trust. Your mother has eyes everywhere in this house. Ears everywhere. I couldn't take the risk. Why are you coming forward now? Thomas reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a worn, folded piece of paper. Old, yellowed, like it had been carried for a long time. Your wife gave me this 2 days before Noah was born. Marcus took the paper. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold it. The letter was in Sarah's handwriting, her beautiful, elegant script that he hadn't seen in 2 years. Just looking at it made his heart ache. Thomas, it began. If you're reading this, something has gone wrong. I need you to promise me something. Promise me you'll protect Noah. Not from strangers. From the people closest to him. I know things about this family. Things Marcus doesn't see. Things his mother has worked very hard to hide. I found financial records, Thomas. Offshore accounts. Evidence of fraud going back 30 years. Money laundering. Bribery. Things that could destroy the sterling name forever. When I confronted Victoria, she smiled and told me to focus on being a good wife. She said I was too naive to understand how the world really worked. She said some secrets were better left buried. But I couldn't let it go. I kept digging. I found more. And now I'm scared. Because I think she knows what I found. I think she knows I'm going to expose everything. If something happens to me, don't let them take my son. Don't let them turn him into what they are. The proof is in safe deposit box number 447 at First California Bank. The key is hidden behind the painting in the nursery. The garden scene I bought last month. Please, Thomas, he's all that matters. He's the only good thing I'm leaving behind. Tell Marcus I loved him. Tell him I'm sorry I couldn't tell him the truth. Tell him to be the father Noah deserves. Sarah. Marcus read the letter 3 times. Each word was a knife in his chest. By the time he finished, tears were streaming down his face. She knew, he whispered. She knew Victoria was dangerous, and she tried to warn me. She came to me because she didn't know who else to trust, Thomas said. She was going to expose everything after Noah was born. She said the truth mattered more than money, more than reputation, more than the sterling name. And then she died. During childbirth, unexpected complications, the doctor said. Thomas's voice was flat, controlled, but his eyes burned with barely contained rage. I asked about an autopsy. I demanded one. Your mother blocked it. She said it would only cause more pain. She said Sarah would have wanted peace. Why would she block an autopsy unless... Marcus couldn't finish the sentence, but he didn't need to. The answer was already forming in his mind, horrible and undeniable. His mother had stopped Sarah from exposing the truth. His mother had let Sarah die. His mother was using Caroline to control Noah. What do I do? Marcus's voice cracked. What the hell do I do? You get the key, you get the proof, and you get Noah out of this house before your mother realizes what you know. Tonight, the longer you wait, the more danger that boy is in, and the more time Victoria has to cover her tracks. Marcus stood up. His legs felt weak, but his mind was made up. Will you help me? Thomas nodded. I made a promise to your wife. I intend to keep it. Elena stepped forward. I'll help too, whatever you need. Marcus looked at them both, an old groundskeeper and a cleaning lady, the 2 people his mother would have dismissed as nothing, as invisible. They were the only ones who had seen the truth. The afternoon passed in a haze of waiting and watching and pretending. Marcus stayed in his office answering emails, taking calls, acting like nothing had changed while his mind raced through possibilities. At noon, Victoria called. Marcus, darling, Caroline tells me you want to take Noah to the doctor. He's been sleeping too much. I'm concerned. Children sleep, Marcus. It's what they do. There's no need to waste Dr. Patterson's time. I'd feel better if he was examined. A pause. When Victoria spoke again, her voice was different, harder. Marcus, I'm worried about you. You've been isolating yourself, working too much, not sleeping. Caroline says you've been acting strangely. I'm fine, Mother. Are you? Because from where I'm standing, it sounds like you're becoming paranoid, obsessive. These are signs of grief that hasn't been properly processed. Marcus gripped the phone tighter. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that perhaps you need help, professional help, a facility where you can rest, recover, get the treatment you need. You want to have me committed? I want to help you, Marcus. That's all I've ever wanted. Is that what you told Sarah before she died? Silence, long, heavy, dangerous. What did you just say? I found her letter, Mother. I know what she discovered. I know what you did. Victoria's voice turned to ice. You don't know anything. You're delusional. You're having a breakdown. I'm calling Dr. Patterson right now. Call whoever you want, but I'm taking Noah and I'm leaving. Tonight. You will do no such thing. Watch me. Marcus hung up. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. He had just declared war on his own mother. And now the clock was ticking. At 6 o'clock, Caroline brought Noah downstairs for dinner. The boy was limp in her arms, his eyes half closed, his skin pale and gray. He's still not feeling well, Caroline said when Marcus looked up. I think an early bedtime tonight. Let me hold him. Caroline blinked. I'm sorry. My son, let me hold him. For a fraction of a second, something flickered across Caroline's face. Surprise. Fear. Calculation. Of course, Mr. Sterling. She handed Noah over. The boy was heavier than Marcus expected, but also more fragile. His small body felt wrong, somehow too still, too quiet, like holding a child-shaped weight rather than a living being. Hey, buddy, Marcus whispered. Noah's eyes flickered open. He looked at his father without recognition. Those eyes that were so much like Sarah's, now empty and dull. He's very tired, Caroline said. The cold is really taking it out of him. Marcus looked at his son's face. Sarah's nose. Sarah's chin. Sarah's eyes vacant and glassy where hers had sparkled with life. I'll put him to bed myself tonight, Marcus said. Caroline's smile froze. That's really not necessary. You have so much on your plate, and I know the routine. I want to do it. But, Mr. Sterling, I said I want to do it. Silence. The air in the room turned thick enough to cut. Of course, Caroline said finally. Her voice was pleasant, but her eyes were calculating. If that's what you want, I'll be in my room if you need anything. She walked away. Marcus watched her go, counting her footsteps, waiting until he heard her door close upstairs. Then he moved. He carried Noah up to the nursery and laid him gently in the crib. The boy's eyes closed immediately. His breathing was slow, too slow, the breathing of someone drugged into unconsciousness. I'm sorry, Marcus whispered. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. But I'm here now, and I'm going to get you out of this. He turned to the wall. The painting hung exactly where Sarah had placed it 2 years ago. A garden in full bloom, flowers in every color bought at an art fair the week before she died. Marcus remembered that day. Sarah had been so happy, so excited about the nursery, about Noah, about their future together. She had spent an hour choosing the perfect painting, the one that would hang above their son's crib, the one he would see every morning when he woke up. She had hidden the key there, hidden the truth. Marcus lifted the frame carefully, tilted it forward, and reached behind. His fingers touched cold metal. A brass key. This small piece of metal was the answer to everything. The proof Sarah had gathered, the evidence that could destroy Victoria. What are you doing? Marcus spun around. Caroline stood in the doorway. Her sweet smile was gone. Her kind eyes were cold. The mask had finally completely fallen away. I asked you a question, Mr. Sterling. What are you doing? Marcus slipped the key into his pocket. Looking at the painting. Sarah bought it before she died. I was just remembering. Caroline stepped into the room. You were reaching behind it. I saw you. Adjusting the frame. It was crooked. It wasn't crooked. Caroline moved closer. Victoria warned me about you. She said you were becoming unstable, paranoid. She said you might try something stupid. Did she? She told me to watch you, to report anything suspicious. And here you are, sneaking around the nursery in the middle of the night, reaching behind paintings, putting things in your pocket. Caroline's voice hardened. What did you find, Marcus? Nothing that concerns you. Everything in this house concerns me. I've given 2 years of my life to this family. 2 years of caring for your son while you hid in your office. 2 years of watching that boy grow while you couldn't even look at him. Is that what you call it, caring for him? Caroline's eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? I know what you've been doing. I know about the medication. I know about the jewelry. I know everything. For a long moment, Caroline didn't move. Her face was completely still like a mask carved from stone. Then she laughed. A cold, brittle sound that made Marcus's skin crawl. So you figured it out. Congratulations. You finally paid attention to something other than your own grief. Why would you do this to a child? Because Victoria pays me very well to do exactly what she tells me. And what she told me was to keep Noah quiet, manageable, easy to control. He's a 2-year-old boy, not a puppet. He's an heir, sir, Caroline said. A sterling heir, worth billions, worth controlling. Victoria has plans for him, Marcus. Big plans. and she can't have those plans disrupted by a child who throws tantrums or asks questions or bonds with a father who might fill his head with dangerous ideas. What plans? You'll have to ask her. I just follow orders. Marcus took a step toward her. I'm taking Noah out of this house. Tonight. No. Caroline shook her head. You're not. She pulled out her phone. Because if you try, I'm going to tell the police that you've been showing signs of mental instability, that you've been paranoid, delusional, making accusations without evidence, that you attacked me when I tried to protect Noah from your breakdown. That's a lie. Is it your mother will back me up? So will Dr. Patterson. So will everyone who's watched you fall apart for 2 years. Caroline smiled that cold, terrible smile. They'll take Noah away from you. They'll put him in Victoria's custody, and you'll spend the rest of your life in a facility drugged into oblivion wondering where it all went wrong. You can't do that. I can, and I will. Unless you forget what you saw and go back to your office like a good little boy. Unless you give me that key and let things go back to the way they were. Marcus looked at this woman he had trusted with his child. This woman who had been poisoning Noah for months. This woman who was threatening to destroy him. And he made a decision. You're right, he said quietly. I can't prove anything. The footage could be faked. My mental state could be questioned. I've been a terrible father. I've been absent, grieving, blind to everything that matters. Caroline's smile widened. I'm glad you understand. But there's one thing you forgot. What's that? Marcus pulled the key from his pocket and held it up. Sarah kept records, evidence, proof of everything Victoria has done for 30 years. Offshore accounts, bribery, money laundering, and now I have the key to where she hid it. Caroline's smile vanished. Give me that? No. Give it to me, Marcus. Her voice was rising, panic creeping in. You don't know what you're dealing with. Victoria will destroy you. She'll destroy everyone you care about. Let her try. Caroline lunged for the key. Marcus stepped back. He was bigger than her, stronger. But she was fast, desperate, her fingers clawing at his hand, her nails raking his skin. Help! Caroline screamed. Someone help! He's attacking me! The door burst open. Thomas stood there, his face grim. I heard everything, he said. Both of you stop. Caroline whirled around. Thomas, thank God, he's lost his mind. He's making accusations, he's threatening me. I heard what you said about drugging the boy. Caroline's face went white. I heard you threatened to have him committed. I heard you admit that Victoria is involved. You don't understand. I was just trying to protect. Save it. The police are already on their way. Caroline's eyes darted between them, wild, calculating. And then she moved. Faster than either of them expected, she grabbed Noah from the crib. Marcus lunged forward. Put him down. Stay back. Caroline held Noah against her chest, backing toward the window. Stay back, or I swear to God I'll hurt him. The room froze. Marcus's heart stopped. Caroline? His voice was barely a whisper. Please. He's just a baby. He's my son. He's leverage. Caroline's eyes were manic now, all pretense gone. Victoria will protect me. She always protects me. All I have to do is get out of here and everything will be fine. You won't make it to the door. Watch me. She edged toward the hallway, Noah clutched in her arms. The boy's eyes were closed. He didn't stir. He was so deeply drugged he didn't even know he was in danger. And then from nowhere, Elena appeared. She had never left. She had hidden in the linen closet down the hall, waiting, listening, ready to help if things went wrong. Now she stepped out of the shadows directly behind Caroline. Her hand closed around Caroline's wrist. Hard, tight. The grip of someone who had spent years lifting patients, moving equipment, doing the hard physical work that no one notices. Let go of the child. Caroline spun around. Her face twisted with shock and rage. You're the reason for all of this. If you had just minded your own business, kept your head down, none of this would be happening. Let go of the child, now, or what you'll clean me to death. Elena didn't respond. She just tightened her grip and twisted. Caroline gasped in pain. Her hold on Noah loosened. Elena grabbed the boy with her free hand, pulled him free, stepped back. Caroline screamed in rage and lunged at her. But Thomas was there, catching Caroline's arms, holding her back as she thrashed and cursed and spat like a wild animal. Elena stood in the corner, holding Noah against her chest, her whole body shaking but her grip on the child steady and sure. Marcus rushed to her. Is he okay? Is he breathing? Elena checked Noah's pulse, his breathing, his color. Her nurse training took over, calm and professional despite the chaos. He's alive, she said. His breathing is shallow but stable. But we need to get him to a hospital, right now. He needs his stomach pumped. He needs blood tests. He needs real doctors, not anyone Victoria controls. Marcus looked at his son, at this small, fragile boy he had almost lost, and for the first time in 2 years he felt something other than grief. He felt hope. "Thomas, can you hold her?" "I've got her. Go, get the boy out of here." Marcus took Noah from Elena's arms. The boy stirred slightly, his eyes flickering open for just a moment. "Daddy." The word was slurred, barely audible. It was the first time Noah had called him that in months. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. "I'm here, buddy. I'm here, and I'm never leaving you again." He looked at Elena. "Thank you for everything." She nodded, her eyes bright with tears. "Go, save your son. That's thanks enough." Marcus ran down the stairs. Noah in his arms, the brass key in his pocket, Sarah's words echoing in his mind. Tell him to be the father Noah deserves. He was going to try. God help him, he was finally going to try. The night air hit Marcus like a wall of cold water as he burst through the front door. Noah was limp in his arms, his small body weighing almost nothing, his breath coming in shallow, irregular gasps. Behind him, Marcus could hear Caroline screaming, cursing, threatening. Thomas's voice calm and steady, telling her to be quiet. Elena was right behind him. "My car is parked on the street. The gray Honda. It's faster than waiting for an ambulance." Marcus didn't argue. He ran. His feet pounded against the gravel driveway. The mansion loomed behind him, all those windows, all those rooms, all those years of lies. He didn't look back. Elena reached the car first, yanking open the back door. Marcus climbed in, cradling Noah against his chest. Elena was in the driver's seat before he had even closed the door. "Beverly Hills General," Marcus said. "It's the closest." "No." Elena's voice was sharp. "That's where your mother has connections. That's where Dr. Patterson works. We need somewhere else." "Where?" "Cedars-Sinai. It's 15 minutes further, but they won't be expecting us there. They won't have people waiting." Marcus looked down at Noah. The boy's lips were turning blue. His skin was gray. "He might not have 15 minutes. Elena met his eyes in the rearview mirror. "He won't have any minutes if we go somewhere Victoria controls. Trust me." Marcus nodded. Elena floored the accelerator. The streets of Beverly Hills blurred past. Mansions, palm trees, perfect lawns hiding imperfect lives. Marcus had grown up in this world, had lived in it for 38 years, and he had never seen it for what it really was. A cage, a beautiful gilded cage. His phone rang. Victoria. Marcus stared at the screen, his mother's name flashing. Her picture smiling, elegant, the face she showed the world. "Don't answer it," Elena said. "I have to. If I don't, she'll know something's wrong. She'll make calls. She'll have people waiting for us wherever we go." Marcus pressed accept. "Mother." "Marcus, darling." Victoria's voice was honey and venom. "Caroline just called me. She's very upset. She says you attacked her." "I didn't attack anyone." "She says you took Noah, that you're acting erratically, that you made accusations, wild accusations about her and about me." "They're not wild. They're true." Silence. When Victoria spoke again, the honey was gone. "Where are you taking my grandson?" "Somewhere safe." "There is nowhere safe, Marcus. Not for you, not anymore. I have friends in every hospital in this city, every police station, every courthouse. You can't run from me. Watch me. If you don't bring Noah back right now, I will destroy you. I will have you declared mentally incompetent. I will take custody of that boy, and you will never see him again." Marcus felt rage boiling in his chest. "Like you destroyed Sarah." The silence that followed was different, heavier, more dangerous. "What did you just say?" "I know what happened, Mother. I know what she found. I know what you did to keep her quiet. You don't know anything. You're having a breakdown just like Caroline said. You need help, Marcus. Professional help." "I have the key." The words hung in the air like a bomb about to explode. "What key?" "Sarah's key, the one she hid, the one that opens the safe deposit box with all the evidence. 30 years of fraud, money laundering, bribery, everything." Victoria's breathing changed, faster, harsher. "That evidence doesn't exist." "Yes, it does, and by tomorrow morning, the FBI will have it." "You're bluffing." "Am I want to find out?" Another silence. Marcus could almost hear his mother's mind, working, calculating, planning. "Marcus?" Her voice was different now, softer, almost pleading. "Let's talk about this. Come home, bring Noah back. We can figure this out together as a family." We're not a family. We never were. A family doesn't murder. A family doesn't poison children. A family doesn't destroy everyone who gets in the way. I never murdered anyone. Sarah died because of you. Sarah died because of complications during childbirth. It happens. It's tragic, but it happens. You blocked the autopsy. To protect the family from scandal. To protect you from more pain. You're lying. I'm your mother, Marcus. Everything I've ever done has been for you. For this family. For our legacy. Marcus looked down at Noah. The boy's eyes were still closed. His breathing was getting weaker. Your legacy is built on corpses, Marcus said, and I'm done being part of it. He hung up. Elena glanced at him in the mirror. She's going to come after us. I know. She's going to use everything she has, money, power, connections. She's going to make you look like a crazy person who kidnapped his own child. I know. Are you ready for that? Marcus held Noah tighter. I'm ready for anything. Cedars-Sinai Medical Center appeared ahead, its lights blazing against the dark sky. Elena pulled up to the emergency entrance and slammed on the brakes. Marcus was out of the car before it stopped moving. Help! He shouted. Someone help! My son isn't breathing! Nurses came running. A gurney appeared. Hands reached for Noah, lifting him, carrying him away. What happened? A doctor was beside Marcus, rapid-fire questions. What did he take? How long has he been like this? He's been drugged. For months, some kind of sedative. I don't know exactly what. Who drugged him? His nanny. She was giving him something in his bottles. I saw it on camera. The doctor's eyes widened, but he didn't hesitate. Get toxicology in here. Full panel. Now. They wheeled Noah through the double doors. Marcus tried to follow, but a nurse stopped him. Sir, you need to wait here. Let us do our job. That's my son. I know, and we're going to help him, but you need to let us work. Marcus stood there, helpless, watching his son disappear down the corridor. Elena appeared beside him. He's going to be okay. These doctors are good. They'll figure out what's in his system. What if they're too late? What if I waited too long? You didn't wait. You're here. That's what matters. Marcus sank into a plastic chair. His hands were shaking. His whole body was shaking. I should have seen it, he said. Months ago, years ago, I should have been paying attention. You were grieving. That's not an excuse. No, but it's a reason. Elena sat down beside him. You lost your wife. You were drowning. People do strange things when they're drowning. Sarah tried to warn me. Before she died, she knew something was wrong. She tried to protect Noah, and I didn't even know. You know now. That's what matters. Marcus looked at this woman, this stranger who had become the only person he could trust. Why are you still here? You could have left hours ago. You could have walked away from all of this. Elena was quiet for a moment. Do you remember what I told you about my sister, about the doctor who saved her life? Yes. His name was Dr. James Whitfield. He died 3 years ago. Cancer. I went to his funeral. There were hundreds of people there, hundreds of lives he had touched, people he had helped, children he had saved. Elena's voice cracked. At the reception, his wife came up to me. She said, Elena James talked about your sister all the time. He said she was the one who made him believe that one person could make a difference. So told me, and I thought, if one person can make a difference, then I want to be that person. I want to matter. I want my life to mean something. She looked at Marcus. Tonight, I got to be that person. Tonight, I got to help save a child. And that's worth more than any job, any money, any risk. That's worth everything. Marcus felt tears burning his eyes. Thank you. I don't have words. You don't need words. Just be there for your son. That's all the thanks I need. A commotion at the entrance made them both turn. 2 police officers walked in, looking around, scanning faces. Behind them, a woman in an expensive suit. Marcus recognized her immediately. Victoria's lawyer. Margaret Chen. The woman who had made problems disappear for the Sterling family for 20 years. Mr. Sterling? Margaret's voice was cold professional. I'm here on behalf of your mother. These officers have a court order for emergency custody of Noah Sterling. Marcus stood up. A court order at 11 o'clock at night. Judge Harrison was kind enough to make himself available, given the circumstances. What circumstances? The circumstances of you removing a minor child from his home in the middle of the night. The circumstances of your documented mental health struggles. The circumstances of multiple witnesses who will testify that you've been behaving erratically, making accusations becoming increasingly unstable. Marcus felt the walls closing in. Victoria had moved fast. Faster than he thought possible. Those witnesses are lying. That's for the court to decide. In the meantime, these officers are here to take custody of Noah and return him to your mother's care." "Over my dead body," Margaret smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "That can be arranged, Mr. Sterling. If you resist a lawful court order, you'll be arrested. You'll spend the night in jail, and your son will go to your mother anyway. Is that what you want?" Marcus looked at the police officers. They looked uncomfortable, caught in the middle of something they didn't understand. "Officers," Marcus said, "my son is in the emergency room right now because he's been poisoned. His nanny has been giving him sedatives for months. I have video evidence. I have witnesses." "He's delusional," Margaret said smoothly. "His wife died 2 years ago. He's never recovered. Ask anyone who knows him." "I'm not delusional. Check with the doctors. They're running toxicology tests right now. They'll prove I'm telling the truth." One of the officers shifted. "Ma'am, if there's a child being treated for possible poisoning, we should probably wait for the medical results." "The court order is clear, officer. Emergency custody. That means now." "With respect, ma'am, I'm not taking a sick child out of a hospital until a doctor clears it. That's not happening." Margaret's eyes narrowed. "I'll have your badge for this." "You can try." The standoff hung in the air, thick with tension, and then the emergency room doors swung open. The doctor who had taken Noah walked out, his face grave. "Mr. Sterling," Marcus rushed forward. "How is he? Is he okay?" "Your son is stable. We found high levels of a sedative called midazolam in his system. It's a benzodiazepine typically used for anxiety and insomnia. At the levels we found, it's extremely dangerous for a child his age. How long has he been taking it? Based on the metabolites in his blood, I'd estimate at least 3 to 4 months. Maybe longer." Margaret stepped forward. "Doctor, I have a court order." "I don't care what you have," the doctor said. "This child shows signs of chronic poisoning. I've already contacted Child Protective Services and the police. This is now a criminal investigation." "The police are already here." "Good. Then they can start taking statements. Because someone has been systematically drugging this child, and I intend to find out who." Margaret's face went pale. This is a family matter. There's no need for a family matter." The doctor's voice rose. "A 2-year-old has been sedated to the point of respiratory depression. His liver shows signs of stress. His development has been severely impacted. This isn't a family matter. This is child abuse." Marcus felt something crack open in his chest. Relief, vindication, horror at how close he had come to losing Noah forever. "I want to see my son." "Of course. He's awake, groggy but awake. He's been asking for you." Marcus turned to walk away, but Margaret grabbed his arm. "This isn't over, Mr. Sterling. Your mother has resources you can't imagine. She will fight this." Marcus looked down at her hand on his arm, then up at her face. "Tell my mother something for me. Tell her the key is real. Tell her the evidence is real. And tell her that by morning the world is going to know exactly who she is." He pulled his arm free and walked through the doors. Noah was in a small room surrounded by machines and IV in his arm. His eyes were open clearer than Marcus had seen them in months. "Daddy." Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. He crossed the room in 3 steps and gathered his son into his arms. "I'm here, buddy. I'm here. I feel funny. I know, but you're going to feel better. I promise." "Where's Caroline?" The name sent ice through Marcus's veins. "Caroline's gone. She's not going to hurt you anymore." "She wasn't nice. She pretended to be nice, but she wasn't." "I know. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner." Noah's small hand reached up and touched Marcus's face. "Why are you crying?" "Because I love you, because I'm so glad you're okay, because I should have been there for you and I wasn't, and I'm going to make that right." "Mommy used to cry sometimes too." Marcus's heart stopped. "She did?" "Before she went to the hospital. She came to my room and she held me and she cried. She said she loved me so much. She said to be brave." Marcus pulled Noah closer, burying his face in his son's hair. Sarah had known. She had known something was going to happen, and she had said goodbye to their son while he was still in her womb. "Your mommy was the bravest person I ever knew," Marcus whispered. "And I'm going to be brave too. For both of us." The hours that followed were a blur of activity. Detectives arrived at 1 a.m. They took Marcus's statement, asked questions, examined the evidence. When he showed them the security footage on his phone, their faces went grim. "This is clear as day," one detective said. She's adding something to that bottle and giving it to the kid, no question. Caroline Whitmore is in custody at the Beverly Hills house, the other detective said, checking his phone. She's not talking, but we've got enough to hold her. What about my mother? The detectives exchanged a look. Victoria Sterling is a prominent figure. We can't just arrest her based on accusations. We need evidence. I have evidence, in a safe deposit box. Then we need to get it, first thing in the morning when the bank opens. What happens until then? We put a guard on your son's room. No one gets in without our approval. Not your mother, not her lawyers, not anyone. Marcus nodded. It wasn't enough. But it was something. At 3 in the morning, Elena came to find him. You should sleep, even just an hour. I can't leave him. Then sleep here. I'll keep watch. You've done enough, more than enough. I'll sleep when this is over. Elena pulled a chair up to the door. Go, rest. You're going to need your strength for what comes next. Marcus looked at his son sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. Real sleep, not drugged unconsciousness. Real natural healing sleep. He closed his eyes, and for a few hours he found peace. The sun was coming up when Thomas arrived at the hospital. Marcus woke to the sound of voices in the hallway. Thomas's deep, steady voice. Elena's quiet responses. They're saying Caroline confessed, Thomas said as Marcus joined them. Not to everything, but to giving Noah the medication. She says Victoria told her to do it. She says she was just following orders. Will she testify? Her lawyer is negotiating a deal. If she gives up Victoria, she might avoid the worst of the charges. Marcus felt a grim satisfaction. The walls were closing in on his mother. Finally. The bank opens in an hour, Thomas said. Are you ready? I've been ready for 2 years. They left Elena with Noah, promising to return as soon as possible. The drive to First California Bank felt like the longest journey of Marcus's life. The building was ordinary. Brown brick, glass doors. Nothing to suggest that inside those walls lay the evidence that could destroy one of the most powerful families in Los Angeles. Marcus walked in with Thomas at his side and the brass key clutched in his hand. I need to access safe deposit box 447, he told the bank manager. The manager, a thin man with nervous eyes, typed something into his computer. That box is registered to Sarah Sterling. Are you listed as an authorized accessor? Sure. I'm her husband. I see. Do you have the death certificate? I can have my lawyer send it over. And the key. Marcus held it up. The brass gleamed in the fluorescent light. The manager nodded. Follow me. They went down a flight of stairs through a heavy metal door into a room lined with small metal boxes. The manager located 447 and inserted his master key. You'll need to use yours as well. Marcus slid the brass key into the second lock, turned it. The box opened. Inside was a USB drive, a thick folder of documents, and a letter. Marcus reached for the letter first. Sarah's handwriting, her last words to him. My dearest Marcus, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm so sorry. I never wanted to leave you. I never wanted to leave our baby. But I discovered things about your mother that I couldn't ignore. Things that made me realize the family I married into was not what it seemed. On this drive, you'll find evidence of fraud, money laundering, and bribery spanning 3 decades. Your mother has been using Sterling Industries as a front for illegal operations. Millions of dollars hidden in offshore accounts. Politicians paid to look the other way. Competitors destroyed through blackmail and extortion. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She laughed. She said I was naive to think the world worked any other way. She said power was the only thing that mattered, and she had more power than I could imagine. I told her I was going to expose everything. I told her I didn't care about the money or the reputation. I told her I only cared about raising our child in a family built on truth. She looked at me with those cold eyes and said, Sarah, you should focus on having a healthy delivery. Childbirth can be so unpredictable. I didn't understand what she meant, not then, but I understand now. She was warning me. She was telling me that if I went forward, something would happen to me. And now I'm scared, Marcus. I'm scared because I know your mother, and I know she doesn't make empty threats. I'm scared because I love you, and I love our baby, and I don't want to leave you. But I can't stay silent. I can't pretend I don't know what I know. I can't let our son grow up in a family built on lies and blood. So I'm hiding this evidence. I'm trusting Thomas to watch over you both. And I'm praying that somehow, someday, you'll find this letter and you'll understand. I love you, Marcus. I have always loved you. From the moment I saw you at that charity gala, standing alone by the window, looking like the loneliest man in the world. I knew then That I wanted to spend my life with you. I knew that underneath all the money and the name and the expectations, there was someone good, someone worth loving. Be that person now. Be the man I fell in love with. Be the father our son deserves. And when you're ready, when you have the strength, destroy her. Destroy everything she's built. Let the truth finally see the light. I'll be watching, I'll be waiting, and someday we'll be together again. Until then, take care of our boy. He's the best of both of us. Forever yours, Sarah. Marcus read the letter 3 times. By the end, he couldn't see the words through his tears. Thomas put a hand on his shoulder. She loved you, more than anything. I know. Marcus's voice was broken. I know. He opened the folder. Page after page of financial records, bank statements, wire transfers, offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Singapore. Millions of dollars flowing in and out, hidden behind shell companies and false names. And then he found the last page. A document that made his blood run cold. It was a payment record, dated 2 days before Sarah died. A wire transfer of $500,000 to Dr. James Patterson. The memo line read services rendered. Childbirth complications. Marcus felt the room spin. His mother had paid the doctor. She had paid him $500,000 to make sure Sarah didn't survive. It wasn't just negligence. It wasn't just letting her die. It was murder. Thomas, Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. She killed her. She actually killed her. Thomas looked at the document. His face went gray. We need to take this to the FBI right now. They left the bank with the evidence in a briefcase. Thomas drove while Marcus sat in the passenger seat, numb, hollow, destroyed. His mother had murdered his wife. She had paid a doctor to kill the woman he loved. And then she had hired someone to drug his son into oblivion. For what? For money, for power, for control. Marcus didn't understand. He couldn't understand. What kind of person did these things? What kind of mother? His phone rang. Victoria. He answered. You're going to prison. Marcus, darling, let's not be dramatic. Whatever you think you found. I found the payment to Dr. Patterson. $500,000. 2 days before Sarah died. Silence. I found the offshore accounts, the shell companies, 30 years of fraud. More silence. I found the letter Sarah wrote before she died. She knew, Mother. She knew you were going to kill her, and she left evidence so that someday you would pay. When Victoria spoke again, her voice was different. No more honey, no more pretense, just ice. You have no idea what you've done. I've done what Sarah asked me to do. I've destroyed you. You think you have power. You think evidence matters. I own judges. I own prosecutors. I own the police. I can make that evidence disappear. I can make you disappear. Try it? Don't test me, Marcus. I made you. I can unmake you. You didn't make me. You controlled me. You manipulated me. You used my grief to keep me blind while you destroyed everything I loved. Everything I did was for this family. No, everything you did was for yourself, your power, your legacy, your control, and it ends today. Marcus hung up. Thomas glanced at him. FBI headquarters is 10 minutes away. Then drive faster. They pulled up to the federal building at 8:15 in the morning. Marcus walked through the doors with the briefcase in his hand and Sarah's letter in his pocket. I need to speak to someone about financial crimes, he told the security guard. And murder. Within an hour, Marcus was sitting in an interview room with 2 FBI agents. He told them everything. The missing items, the security cameras, Carolyn's confession, Victoria's phone call, Sarah's letter, the evidence from the safe deposit box. When he finished, the agents looked at each other. Mr. Sterling, one of them said, if this evidence is authentic, we're looking at RICO charges, wire fraud, money laundering, and possibly conspiracy to commit murder. It's authentic. Every page, every document, every dollar. We'll need to verify everything. Forensic accountants, document experts, it could take weeks. My son is in the hospital because of what she did. My wife is dead because of what she did. I don't care how long it takes. I want her in prison for the rest of her life. The agent nodded. We'll do everything we can. Marcus walked out of the FBI building into the morning sunlight. For the first time in 2 years, he felt like he could breathe. His phone buzzed, a text from Elena. Noah is asking for you. He wants pancakes. Marcus smiled. It was a small smile, tired and sad, but real. He had a long road ahead. Court cases, testimony. The inevitable media circus. His mother's lawyers would fight. They would attack his credibility, his mental health, his fitness as a father. They would drag Sarah's name through the mud. They would try to twist the truth into something unrecognizable. But Marcus was ready. He had the evidence. He had witnesses. He had the truth. And most importantly, he had his son. He got in the car and drove back to the hospital, back to Noah, back to the life he should have been living for the last 2 years. Sarah had asked him to be brave, to be the father Noah deserved. He was finally ready to try. Marcus walked into Noah's hospital room at 9:30 in the morning with a bag of pancakes from the diner across the street. Noah was sitting up in bed, his eyes brighter than Marcus had seen them in months. The IV was still attached to his arm, but the color had returned to his cheeks. He looked like a different child. He looked alive. "Daddy." Noah reached out his arms. "You came back." Marcus felt his heart crack. You came back. As if Noah had spent his whole short life waiting for his father to return. As if being abandoned was all he had ever known. "I'll always come back, buddy." Marcus sat on the edge of the bed and opened the bag. "I promised you pancakes." "With chocolate chip?" "Of course, with chocolate chips. What kind of father do you think I am?" Noah giggled. It was a sound Marcus hadn't heard in over a year. A real laugh. A child's laugh. Elena appeared in the doorway. Her face was troubled. "Marcus, we need to talk." "What's wrong?" "Not here." She glanced at Noah. "Outside." Marcus handed Noah the pancakes and stepped into the hallway. Elena's expression made his stomach drop. "What happened?" "Thomas just called. Victoria's lawyer filed an emergency motion this morning. They're claiming the evidence you gave the FBI was obtained illegally." "That's ridiculous. Sarah collected that evidence. It was in her safe deposit box." "Shiz, they're saying Sarah wasn't authorized to access certain financial records. They're saying she stole proprietary information from Sterling Industries. They're claiming everything in that box is inadmissible." Marcus felt the ground shift beneath his feet. "Can they do that?" "I don't know, but there's more." "More." Elena's voice dropped. Caroline changed her story. She's no longer saying Victoria told her to drug Noah. She's saying she acted alone. She's saying she was trying to help a difficult child and things got out of hand. She confessed to the detectives last night. Her lawyer is claiming that confession was coerced, that she was in shock, that she'll recant everything in court. Marcus slammed his fist against the wall. Victoria got to her. She paid her off or threatened her or both. Probably. Caroline knows what happens to people who cross Victoria Sterling. She's choosing prison over whatever alternative your mother offered. So we have nothing, all that evidence, all that proof, and we have nothing. We have the toxicology report. We have the doctor's testimony. We have proof that Noah was poisoned. But not proof that my mother was behind it. Elena was silent. That silence said everything. Marcus leaned against the wall, his head spinning. Victoria was fighting back. She had resources he couldn't imagine. Lawyers, judges, politicians all bought and paid for over 30 years. She could make evidence disappear. She could make witnesses change their stories. She could make the truth itself bend to her will. "What do I do, Cup?" "You fight," Elena said quietly. "You keep fighting, because if you stop, she wins, and Noah loses." "I don't know how to fight someone like her." "Then learn. Fast." A commotion at the end of the hallway made them both turn. 2 men in suits were walking toward them, their faces grim. Behind them, a woman Marcus recognized. Margaret Chen, Victoria's lawyer. Again. "Mr. Sterling." Margaret's voice was ice. "I have a court order granting temporary custody of Noah Sterling to his grandmother Victoria Sterling pending a full custody hearing." "You have got to be kidding me. I assure you I am not kidding." Judge Harrison reviewed the evidence this morning and determined that given your documented mental health struggles and erratic behavior over the past 48 hours, it is in the child's best interest to be placed with a stable guardian. "My mother drugged him. She had her nanny poison him for months. Those are unsubstantiated allegations. Caroline Whitmore has provided a sworn statement indicating that she acted independently without any direction from Mrs. Sterling. Caroline is lying. That's for the court to decide. In the meantime, these officers are here to execute the custody order." Marcus looked at the 2 men. They weren't police. They were private security. Hired muscle. Those aren't real officers. They're licensed court enforcement agents authorized to execute civil orders in the state of California. Margaret smiled that cold smile. "Everything is perfectly legal, Mr. Sterling. I suggest you don't make a scene." "I'm not letting you take my son." "You don't have a choice." The 2 men stepped forward. Marcus stepped in front of Noah's door. You'll have to go through me. Mr. Sterling, if you obstruct a court order, you will be arrested. Is that what you want? To be dragged away in handcuffs while your son watches?" Marcus felt rage boiling in his chest, but underneath the rage was fear. Cold, paralyzing fear. Because Margaret was right. If he resisted, they would arrest him. And Noah would go to Victoria anyway. "This isn't over," Marcus said. "No, it's just beginning." Margaret gestured to the security guards. "Please escort Mr. Sterling away from the door." The guards moved toward him. Marcus didn't move. "Sir, step aside." "No." "Sir, we don't want to use force." "Then don't." One of the guards reached for Marcus's arm. Marcus grabbed his wrist and twisted. The guard grunted in pain. The second guard pulled out a taser. "Sir, back away now." "Marcus." Elena's voice cut through the chaos. "Marcus, stop." He looked at her. Her face was pale, but her eyes were fierce. "This isn't the way. If you assault them, Victoria wins. She'll use it as proof that you're unstable. She'll use it to take Noah permanently." "I can't let them take him." "You can't stop them. Not like this." Elena stepped closer. "But you can fight in court. You can win there, if you're still free to fight." Marcus looked at the guards at Margaret at the door, behind which his son was eating chocolate chip pancakes, unaware that his world was about to be shattered again. He released the guard's wrist. "Smart choice," Margaret said. "Now step aside." Marcus stepped aside. His legs felt like they were made of stone. Margaret opened the door. Noah looked up confused. "Daddy, who's that lady?" She's here to take you to Grandma's house for a little while." Noah's eyes widened with fear. "I don't want to go to Grandma's house." "I know, buddy, I know. Please, Daddy, don't make me go." Marcus knelt down beside the bed. His heart was breaking into 1,000 pieces. "Noah, listen to me. I need you to be brave. Can you do that?" "I don't want to be brave. I want to stay with you." "I know, and I'm going to come get you. I promise, no matter what, I'm going to come get you." "When?" "Soon. As soon as I can." Noah's lip trembled. "Promise?" "I promise. Cross my heart." The guards stepped forward. One of them reached for Noah. "Don't touch him," Marcus said. "I'll carry him." He picked up his son, held him close, breathed in the smell of his hair, the warmth of his small body. He tried to memorize every detail, the weight of him, the sound of his breath, the feel of his tiny fingers clutching Marcus's shirt. "I love you," Marcus whispered. "I love you so much." "I love you too, Daddy." Marcus carried Noah to the door, handed him to one of the guards. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. Noah started to cry. "Daddy, Daddy, no, It's okay, buddy. It's going to be okay. I want to stay with you, please." They took him down the hallway. His cries echoed off the walls. Marcus stood frozen, unable to move, unable to breathe. Elena put a hand on his arm. "We'll get him back." "How?" Marcus's voice was hollow. "She has everything. Money, power, connections. What do I have? The truth. The truth doesn't matter when she can buy the judges. Then we find judges she can't buy. We find evidence she can't destroy. We fight harder than she expects." Marcus turned to look at her. "Why do you keep saying we? This isn't your fight." "Yes, it is. I made it my fight the moment I decided to speak up. I'm not walking away now." "You barely know me." "I know your son. I know what your wife asked me to do. I know what's right." Elena's jaw set. "And I know that Victoria Sterling thinks she's untouchable. I want to prove her wrong." Marcus felt something stir in his chest. Not hope exactly, but something close. "Okay," he said. "Then let's prove her wrong." 2 days later, Marcus sat in a conference room at the law offices of Davidson and Associates. He had found them through Thomas, a small firm not prestigious, not connected to the Sterling Empire, the kind of firm that took cases on principle, not profit. Rachel Davidson was a woman in her 50s with sharp eye and a no-nonsense attitude. She had reviewed all the evidence. She had listened to Marcus's story. Now she was giving him her assessment. "The good news is you have a case. The toxicology reports are damning. The security footage is clear. The payment to Dr. Patterson raises serious questions about your wife's death. What's the bad news?" "The bad news is Victoria Sterling has been preparing for this moment for 30 years. She has lawyers. She has judges. She has a network of people who owe her favors. Fighting her is going to be like fighting a hydra. Cut off one head, 2 more grow back. So I should give up." "I didn't say that." Rachel leaned forward. "I said it's going to be hard, but hard isn't impossible. We need to be smart, strategic, We need to hit her where she's not expecting. Where's that public opinion? Marcus frowned. I don't understand. Right now, this is a legal battle. Lawyers against lawyers. Motions and counter-motions. That's her territory. She can drag this out for years. She can bury you in paperwork and legal fees until you're bankrupt. So what's the alternative? We take it public. We go to the media. We tell your story. Sarah's story. Noah's story. We make this a scandal that Victoria can't buy her way out of. She'll deny everything. Of course she will, but denials only go so far when there's video evidence of a nanny drugging a child, when there's a payment record showing $500,000 going to the doctor who oversaw a suspicious death, when there's a letter from a dead woman predicting her own murder. Marcus thought about it. Going public meant exposing everything. His grief, his failures as a father, his blindness to what was happening in his own home. What about Noah? If this becomes a media circus, he'll be affected. He's already affected. He's living with a woman who may have killed his mother. The question is whether you want to protect him from uncomfortable publicity or protect him from his grandmother. Marcus didn't need to think about that for long. Do it. Go to the media. Tell them everything. Rachel nodded. I'll make some calls. The story broke 3 days later. Marcus watched from a hotel room as his family's secrets played out on every news channel in America. Billionaire's dark secret. Wife's suspicious death and grandson's poisoning. Sterling empire built on fraud. Whistleblower claims matriarch ordered murder. The footage of Caroline drugging Noah played on loop. The payment record to Dr. Patterson flashed across screens. Sarah's letter was read aloud by somber anchors. And through it all, Victoria Sterling remained silent. Marcus's phone rang constantly. Reporters, former friends, business associates who wanted to distance themselves from the scandal. He ignored them all. The only call he answered was from Elena. Have you seen the news? I'm watching it now. Victoria's lawyers are scrambling. They've issued 3 statements in the last hour, each one contradicting the last. Good. There's something else. Caroline Whitmore's lawyer just called a press conference. She's changing her story again. Back to implicating Victoria. Yes, apparently she decided that going down alone wasn't worth the money Victoria was paying her. She's naming names, dates, everything. Marcus felt a surge of hope. That's huge. It gets better. Dr. Patterson has disappeared. His office is closed. His home is empty. The FBI is looking for him. He ran. Looks like it, which means he knows the evidence against him is solid, which means the case against Victoria just got stronger. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. It was the first time he had smiled in days. How's Noah? Elena hesitated. I don't know. Victoria's not letting anyone near the house, but Thomas says he saw him in the garden yesterday. He looked okay. Okay isn't good enough. I know, but it's something. I need to get him back. You will. The custody hearing is in 2 weeks. With Caroline's new testimony and the public pressure, the judge will have to rule in your favor. Unless Victoria gets to the judge too. She can't get to everyone, Marcus. Not anymore. The spotlight is too bright. Marcus hoped she was right. The custody hearing was held on a Tuesday morning at the Los Angeles County Courthouse. Marcus arrived early. Rachel was already there organizing documents, preparing witnesses. Elena sat in the gallery offering silent support. Victoria arrived with an entourage. 5 lawyers, 2 public relations specialists, a personal assistant carrying a leather briefcase. She walked in like she owned the place. For most of her life, she had. She caught Marcus's eye across the courtroom. Her face was a mask of cold composure, but underneath Marcus could see something he had never seen before. Fear. She was afraid. Judge Patricia Morales called the court to order. She was new to the case assigned after Judge Harrison recused himself following allegations of improper contact with Victoria's legal team. We're here to determine temporary custody of Noah Sterling, age 2, pending the outcome of criminal investigations involving multiple parties. Judge Morales looked at both sides. I've reviewed the evidence submitted. I have to say, in 30 years on the bench, I've rarely seen a case this disturbing. Victoria's lead lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client categorically denies any involvement in the alleged crimes. The evidence against her is circumstantial at best, manufactured at worst. The evidence includes video footage of a nanny drugging a child, Rachel countered. It includes a payment of $500,000 to the doctor who oversaw Mrs. Sterling's daughter-in-law's death. It includes testimony from that same nanny naming Victoria Sterling as the person who ordered her actions. Caroline Whitmore's testimony is unreliable. She's a confessed child abuser looking to reduce her sentence. And the payment to Dr. Patterson? How does your client explain that? The lawyer hesitated. Dr. Patterson was a trusted family physician. The payment was for legitimate medical services. $500,000 in medical services 2 days before a young, healthy woman died in childbirth. The timing is coincidental. Your Honor, Rachel said, we're not here to litigate the criminal case against Mrs. Sterling. We're here to determine what's best for her grandson. And I would argue that a child's best interest is not served by placing him in the custody of someone who is currently under FBI investigation for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. Judge Morales nodded slowly. I'm inclined to agree. However, I'm also concerned about Mr. Sterling's fitness as a parent. The record shows he has been largely absent from his son's life for the past 2 years. Marcus stood. May I speak, Your Honor? You may. I won't deny that I've been a terrible father. After my wife died, I fell apart. I couldn't look at my son without seeing her, without feeling the pain of losing her. I let other people raise him while I hid from my grief. His voice broke, but he continued. I was wrong. I was selfish. I failed Noah in ways I can never fully make up for. But I'm here now. I see the truth now, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the father he deserves. Pretty words, Victoria's lawyer said, but actions speak louder. Where was Mr. Sterling when his son was being drugged in his office, ignoring the child he claims to love? Where was Mrs. Sterling? Rachel shot back. She was the one who hired Caroline Whitmore. She was the one who insisted on that particular nanny. She was the one who paid the doctor who may have killed Sarah Sterling. Objection. Speculation. It's not speculation, it's documented. Judge Morales raised her hand. Enough? I've heard enough. The courtroom fell silent. This case involves accusations of truly heinous conduct. A child has been harmed. A young woman may have been murdered. A family has been torn apart by greed and the pursuit of power. She looked at Victoria. Mrs. Sterling, I find the evidence against you deeply troubling. Until the criminal investigation is resolved, I cannot in good conscience place a child in your care. Victoria's face went pale. Mr. Sterling, your failures as a father are also troubling. However, unlike your mother, you are not currently under investigation for any crime, and your recent actions suggest a genuine desire to protect your son. Therefore, I am granting temporary custody of Noah Sterling to his father, Marcus Sterling, effective immediately. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. Court is adjourned. Victoria stood up, her composure finally cracking. This is outrageous. I will appeal. I will have your position, Judge Morales. I will, Mrs. Sterling. Judge Morales' voice was steel. One more word and I will hold you in contempt. You've lost. Accept it with whatever grace you have left. Victoria's lawyers pulled her toward the exit. She shot Marcus a look of pure hatred as she passed. This isn't over, she hissed. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Actually, Mother, I do. That's why you lost. Victoria walked out. The doors closed behind her. Elena ran to Marcus and hugged him. You did it. You actually did it. Not yet. She's right. This isn't over. She'll appeal. She'll keep fighting. Let her. You have Noah. That's what matters. Rachel joined them. The custody order is being processed. You can pick up your son in 2 hours. 2 hours. Standard procedure. They need to do the paperwork, arrange the handover. 2 hours. After everything he had been through, 2 hours felt like eternity. But he had waited 2 years. He could wait 2 more hours. At 3 o'clock that afternoon, Marcus stood outside Victoria's mansion. Police officers flanked him. A social worker held the custody documents. Rachel stood nearby, ready to intervene if Victoria tried anything. The door opened. A housekeeper Marcus didn't recognize stood there. We're here for Noah Sterling, the social worker said. I have a court order. The housekeeper looked nervous. Mrs. Sterling said she's not receiving visitors. This isn't a visit. This is a legal custody transfer. Please bring the child. A tense moment passed, then footsteps from inside. Thomas appeared, carrying Noah in his arms. Daddy? Noah's face lit up. He squirmed out of Thomas's grip and ran toward Marcus. Marcus caught him, lifted him, held him tight. I told you I'd come back. You came back. You really came back. Always, buddy. Always. Thomas watched them with tears in his eyes. Take care of him. I will. Thank you, Thomas, for everything. I made a promise. I kept it. Victoria appeared in the doorway behind Thomas. Her face was haggard, older than Marcus had ever seen it. "You think you've won," she said. "You think this is victory, but you've destroyed everything. The company, the legacy, everything your father built, everything I protected for 60 years. Gone. You destroyed it, Mother, not me, you and your lies and your crimes. I protected this family. You murdered my wife." Victoria flinched, just for a second. Then the mask came back. "You can't prove that." "The FBI will. Dr. Patterson is in custody. He's talking. He's telling them everything about that night, about what you asked him to do about the payment." Victoria's face went white. "He's lying. He has records, emails, recordings. You were careful, Mother, but you weren't careful enough." Victoria opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. For the first time in her life, Victoria Sterling had nothing to say. Marcus turned and walked away, Maid, please. Noah in his arms. He didn't look back. That night, Marcus sat in a small apartment he had rented across town. It wasn't much. 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, barely any furniture. But it was theirs, his and Noah's. Elena had helped them move in. She had brought blankets, pillows, groceries. She had made dinner while Marcus gave Noah a bath. Now Noah was asleep in his new bed, exhausted from the day's emotions. Marcus sat in the living room staring at nothing. Elena handed him a cup of coffee. "How are you doing?" "I don't know. Numb, I think." "That's understandable. I keep waiting for something to go wrong, for Victoria to show up with another court order, for the police to say the evidence isn't enough." "The evidence is enough. She's going to prison, Marcus, for a long time." "I know, but after everything she's done, everything she's gotten away with, it's hard to believe it's really over." "It's not over. The trial will take months, maybe years. There will be appeals, motions, legal battles. But the hardest part is behind you. You have Noah. That's what matters." Marcus looked at her. "What happens now, for you, I mean? You lost your job because of all this." Elena smiled. "I didn't lose it. I quit. When I told Mrs. Hendricks what had happened, she said she couldn't employ someone who was involved in a criminal investigation, even as a witness. I'm sorry." "Don't be. I hated that job anyway, cleaning mansions for people who never even saw me." "What will you do?" "I don't know yet. My sister offered to let me stay with her while I figure things out." "You could stay here." The words came out before Marcus could stop them. Elena looked surprised. "I mean, Noah needs someone during the day, someone he trusts, and I need help. I have no idea how to be a single father. I've never done this before." "You're offering me a job." "I'm offering you a place, a home, for as long as you want it." Elena was quiet for a long moment. "Marcus, I appreciate the offer, but you barely know me. I know you risked everything to help a child who wasn't yours. I know you stayed when anyone else would have left. I know you're the reason Noah is sleeping in the next room instead of in my mother's house. I just did what was right. Most people don't. Most people look the other way. Most people protect themselves." Marcus leaned forward. "You're not most people, Elena, and I don't want you to disappear from our lives." Elena looked down at her hands. When she looked up, her eyes were glistening. "Okay," she said softly. "I'll stay." "Really? Really, but only because Noah needs stability right now, and because I'm not done watching you become the father he deserves." Marcus smiled. It was a real smile, the first one he had felt in weeks. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. I'm going to be very demanding." "I'm counting on it." They sat in comfortable silence, drinking coffee, watching the city lights through the window. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, the trial, the media, the long road to healing. But tonight, for the first time since Sarah died, Marcus felt something he had almost forgotten existed. Peace. 3 weeks later, Victoria Sterling was arrested on federal charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. The footage played on every news channel. Victoria in handcuffs being led from her mansion by FBI agents. Her face blank, her eyes empty. The Queen of Beverly Hills reduced to a common criminal. Marcus watched from his apartment Noah playing with blocks on the floor nearby. "That's Grandma," Noah said, pointing at the screen. "Yes, that's Grandma." "Where are they taking her?" "Away, somewhere she can't hurt anyone anymore." Noah thought about this. "Is she bad?" Marcus struggled with how to answer. How do you explain evil to a 2-year-old? How do you tell a child that his grandmother may have killed his mother? She did bad things, Marcus said finally. Sometimes people do bad things, even people we love, and when they do, they have to face the consequences. What's consequences? It means taking responsibility. It means paying for what you've done." Noah nodded solemnly as if he understood perfectly. Maybe he did. Children often understand more than adults give them credit for. "I'm glad she's going away," Noah said. "She scared me." Marcus pulled his son into his arms. "She'll never scare you again. I promise." The doorbell rang. Elena went to answer it. She returned with Thomas, who looked older than Marcus had ever seen him. "I came to say goodbye," Thomas said. "Goodbye. Where are you going?" "Back to Ireland. My sister has a farm there. I haven't seen her in 20 years. I think it's time." "What about the trial they'll need you to testify?" "I've given my deposition. The prosecutors have everything they need. They don't need an old man sitting in a courtroom." Marcus stood and embraced him. "I can't thank you enough for everything you did, for keeping Sarah's secret, for protecting Noah." "I made a promise." Thomas's voice cracked. "I only wish I could have done more. I wish I could have stopped her sooner. You did what you could. That's all any of us can do." Thomas knelt down to Noah's level. "You be good for your father, young man, and remember what I told you. Be brave like Mommy." "That's right. Be brave like Mommy." Thomas stood, wiped his eyes, and walked to the door. "Take care of each other," he said. "That's what Sarah would have wanted." And then he was gone. Marcus stood at the window watching the old man walk down the street. Another chapter closing, another piece of the past fading away, but not gone. Never gone. The past lived in Noah's eyes, in Sarah's letter, in the justice that was finally being served. Elena came to stand beside him. "Are you okay?" "I will be." Marcus turned to look at her. "I think for the first time in 2 years, I actually will be." 6 months had passed since Victoria Sterling's arrest. Marcus stood at the kitchen counter of their new apartment making breakfast while Noah sat at the table drawing pictures with crayons. The boy had changed so much in half a year. He talked constantly now, asked questions about everything, laughed at silly jokes, threw tantrums when he didn't get his way. All the normal things a 3-year-old should do, all the things the drugs had stolen from him. Elena walked in her hair, still wet from the shower. "Something smells good." "Pancakes, Noah's request." "Again? That's the 3rd time this week." "What can I say? The boy knows what he likes." Noah looked up from his drawing. "Elena, look, I drew Daddy." Elena leaned over to examine the picture. A stick figure with wild hair and a big smile. "That's beautiful, sweetheart. But why does Daddy have green hair? Because green is my favorite color." "Can't argue with that logic." The doorbell rang. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. 6 months of peace, and he still tensed at every unexpected sound. The trauma of those terrible weeks hadn't fully healed. Elena touched his arm. "I'll get it." She returned a moment later with Rachel Davidson, whose face was grave. "We need to talk," Rachel said. "It's about the trial." Marcus wiped his hands on a towel. "Noah, why don't you take your crayons to your room? Daddy needs to talk to the grown-ups." "But I want to stay." "I know, buddy, but this is boring adult stuff. I'll come play with you in a little bit, okay?" Noah pouted, but gathered his crayons and shuffled toward his room. Once he was gone, Marcus turned to Rachel. "What happened?" "Victoria's lawyers filed a motion this morning. They're claiming prosecutorial misconduct." "What kind of misconduct?" "They're saying the FBI obtained the evidence from Sarah's safe deposit box illegally, that you didn't have proper authorization to access it, that the chain of custody was compromised." Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. That's the same argument they tried before. The judge rejected it. This is a different judge. Victoria's team has been filing motions in every court they can find, hoping to get one that sticks. And did it stick? Rachel hesitated. The judge has agreed to hold a hearing. If he rules in Victoria's favor, the evidence could be thrown out. All of it. All of it. The financial records, the payment to Dr. Patterson, everything in that box. Marcus slammed his hand against the counter. She can't keep getting away with this. She hasn't gotten away with anything yet. This is a hearing, not a verdict. But I wanted you to be prepared. When is it? Next week, Tuesday. Elena stepped forward. What can we do? Pray, Rachel said, and hope this judge is one of the few in Los Angeles that Victoria Sterling doesn't own. The week passed slowly. Marcus tried to maintain normalcy for Noah's sake. Breakfast, playtime, stories before bed. The routines that had become the foundation of their new life. But underneath the calm surface, anxiety churned. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't eat. He kept replaying scenarios in his head, imagining what would happen if Victoria's lawyers succeeded, if the evidence was thrown out, if she walked free. On Monday night, Elena found him sitting alone in the dark living room. "You should be sleeping." "Can't." She sat down beside him. "What are you thinking about?" "Sarah, what she would say if she could see all this." "What do you think she would say?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "She would tell me to stop worrying about things I can't control. She always said that. When I was stressed about work, about money, about anything, she would put her hand on my face and say, 'Marcus, you can't control the world. You can only control how you respond to it.' She sounds wise. She was wiser than me." His voice cracked. "I didn't deserve her." "That's not true?" "It is. She saw the good in me when I couldn't see it myself. She believed in me when I had given up on myself, and I repaid her by hiding in my office while our son was being poisoned." "You didn't know." "I should have known. I should have been paying attention. I should have been there." Elena took his hand. "Marcus, listen to me. You can't change the past. You can't undo the mistakes you made, but you can choose what happens next. You can be the father Noah needs. You can honor Sarah's memory by living the life she wanted for you. What if I fail again? Then you get up and try again. That's all any of us can do." Marcus looked at her. In the dim light, her face was soft, kind, patient, so different from the women he had known in his mother's world. Women who smiled with their mouths but calculated with their eyes. "You've been amazing through all of this," he said. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already have. Every day when I see Noah laugh, when I see you read him stories, when I see this family healing, that's all the thanks I need." "Is that what we are, a family?" Elena's breath caught. The question hung between them, heavy with implication. "I don't know what we are," she said quietly, "but I know I don't want to be anywhere else." Marcus reached up and touched her face. Her skin was warm under his fingers. "Sarah would have liked you," he said. "You've said that before. Because it's true. She would have seen what I see. Someone good, someone brave, someone worth—" His phone rang, shattering the moment. It was Rachel. "Turn on the news. Channel 7. Now!" Marcus grabbed the remote and turned on the television. A breaking news banner scrolled across the bottom of the screen. Sterling trial witness found dead. "Oh my God," Elena whispered. The news anchor's voice filled the room. "Dr. James Patterson, a key witness in the federal case against Victoria Sterling, was found dead in his cell this evening. Prison officials are calling it suicide, but sources close to the investigation say there are signs of foul play." Marcus felt ice in his veins. "Rachel, what does this mean?" "It means Victoria's reach is longer than we thought. Patterson was going to testify about the payment. He was going to confirm that Victoria ordered him to cause complications during Sarah's delivery. Without him, the murder charge falls apart." "Yes." Marcus's hand tightened on the phone. "She killed him. From inside a federal detention center, she reached out and killed him." "We can't prove that." "We don't need to prove it. We know it's true." "Knowing and proving are two different things, Marcus. The prosecution will try to proceed without Patterson's testimony, but it's going to be much harder." "What about Caroline? She can still testify." Rachel was quiet for a moment. "Caroline's lawyer called me an hour ago. She's recanting again. Says she was coerced into implicating Victoria. Says she made the whole thing up to get a better deal." "Victoria got to her too." "Probably threatened her family, or offered her enough money to disappear when this is over." Marcus felt the walls closing in. Every witness was being silenced. Every piece of evidence was being challenged. Victoria was fighting from her cell like a wounded animal, destroying everything and everyone who threatened her. What do we have left? The toxicology reports, the security footage, Sarah's letter. It's still enough to prove what happened to Noah. It might be enough for the fraud charges. But not for murder. No, probably not for murder. Marcus hung up. He stood in the middle of the living room, his body rigid with fury. "She's going to get away with it," he said. "She killed Sarah and she's going to get away with it." "We don't know that yet." "Yes, we do. Patterson was the only one who could tie her directly to Sarah's death. Without him, it's just speculation. Just a payment that could be explained away." "The payment was $500,000. And Victoria's lawyers will say it was for medical services, for consultations, for anything except murder. They'll muddy the waters until no one knows what's true anymore." Elena stood up and faced him. "Then we find another way." "What other way? Every witness is dead or bought. Every piece of evidence is being challenged." "She's winning, Elena. From inside a prison cell, she's winning." "She hasn't won yet. The The trial is still happening. The judge could rule against her motion. The jury could still convict. And if they don't, then we keep fighting. We appeal. We go to the media again. We make sure everyone knows what she did, even if we can't prove it in court. That's not justice. That's just noise. Sometimes noise is all we have. Elena grabbed his shoulders, forced him to look at her. Marcus, I know you're scared. I know you feel like everything is falling apart. But you can't give up. Not now. Not after everything you've been through. I'm not giving up. I'm being realistic. No, you're being defeated. And that's exactly what Victoria wants. She wants you to feel hopeless. She wants you to believe you can't win. Because if you give up, she doesn't have to fight anymore. Marcus stared at her. She was right. He knew she was right. What do? You show up. Tomorrow at that hearing, you sit in that courtroom and you let Victoria see that you're still standing. You let her know that no matter what she does, no matter how many witnesses she kills or buys, you're not going away. And if the judge throws out the evidence, then we find new evidence, we find new witnesses, we dig deeper, we fight harder. Marcus took a breath, then another. The panic that had been rising in his chest began to subside. Okay, he said. Okay. The hearing was held at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Marcus sat in the front row of the gallery, Elena beside him. Across the aisle, Victoria's lawyers filled an entire row, their expensive suits and confident smiles, a reminder of the resources arrayed against him. And then Victoria was brought in. She looked different than the last time Marcus had seen her. Thinner, older, the orange jumpsuit hung loose on her frame, but her eyes were the same, cold, calculating, dangerous. She caught Marcus's gaze and held it. A small smile played at the corner of her lips. I'm still here, that smile said. I'm still fighting, and I'm going to win. Marcus didn't look away. Judge William Reeves took his seat. He was in his 60s with silver hair and a weathered face. Marcus had researched him extensively, a former prosecutor, a reputation for fairness, no known connections to Victoria's network, but that didn't mean he was safe. We're here to consider the defendant's motion to suppress evidence obtained from Safe Deposit Box 447 at First California Bank, Judge Reeves said. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed. Victoria's lead attorney stood. His name was Harrison Blake, and he had spent 30 years defending the wealthy and powerful. Your Honor, the evidence in question was obtained without proper authorization. Marcus Sterling accessed a safe deposit box registered solely in his deceased wife's name. He had no legal right to that box. He was her husband, Rachel countered. Under California law, a surviving spouse has access to the deceased's assets. Only after probate. The probate process for Sarah Sterling's estate was never completed. Marcus Sterling accessed that box illegally, and everything he found there is fruit of the poisonous tree. Judge Reeves frowned. Mr. Blake, the bank records show that Marcus Sterling was listed as an emergency contact on the account. Emergency contact is not the same as authorized accessor, Your Honor. But the bank allowed him access. The bank made an error that should not be rewarded by allowing illegally obtained evidence into a federal proceeding. Rachel stood. Your Honor, even if we accept the defense's argument about authorization, the evidence itself is not in question. The documents in that box are authentic. The payment records are real. The letter from Sarah Sterling is real. Excluding them doesn't change the underlying truth. The truth is not the issue here, Blake said smoothly. The issue is the integrity of the legal process. If we allow improperly obtained evidence, we undermine the entire foundation of our justice system. Judge Reeves leaned back in his chair. I'm inclined to hear more about the circumstances of the access. Mr. Sterling, would you be willing to testify? Marcus stood. Yes, Your Honor. He took the witness stand. Blake approached him like a predator circling prey. Mr. Sterling, when you accessed that safe deposit box, did you have any legal documentation proving your right to do so? I had the key. My wife left it for me. Left it for you? For you how? Hidden behind a painting in my son's nursery. She wrote a letter explaining where to find it. A letter that conveniently appeared after her death. A letter she wrote before her death, warning me that my mother was dangerous. A letter that could have been written by anyone. Marcus felt anger flaring. It was in Sarah's handwriting. Forensic experts have confirmed it. Forensic experts can be wrong, or bought. Objection, Rachel said. Is counsel suggesting that the FBI's forensic team was bribed? I'm suggesting that evidence should be verified through proper channels not accepted based on claims. Judge Reeves raised his hand. Let's stay focused. Mr. Sterling, when you went to the bank, what did you tell them? I told them I was Sarah's husband. I showed them the key. I showed them my ID. They verified my identity and allowed me access. Did they ask for any other documentation? No, they said the key and my ID were sufficient. Blake pounced. So the bank, not a court, made the determination that you had the right to access that box. They followed their procedures. Their procedures are not the law, Mr. Sterling. The law requires proper authorization. You didn't have it. I had my wife's letter. I had her key. I had 2 years of wondering why she died and finally finding the answer. What was I supposed to do? Wait for paperwork while my mother continued to drug my son? The courtroom fell silent. Marcus's voice had risen raw with emotion. Blake smiled. So you admit you acted impulsively, emotionally, without regard for proper legal procedure. I acted like a father trying to save his child. That's not what I asked. It's what matters. Judge Reeves cleared his throat. I think we've heard enough on this point. I'll take a brief recess to consider the arguments. He stood and left the courtroom. Marcus returned to his seat. His hands were shaking. You did fine, Elena whispered. I lost my temper. You showed you're human. That's not a bad thing. Rachel joined them. The judge is hard to read, but I think he's sympathetic. The question is whether sympathy outweighs legal technicality. What are the odds? 50-50, maybe less. Marcus looked across the aisle. Victoria was conferring with her lawyers, her face animated. She looked confident, triumphant. She thinks she's going to win, Marcus said. Let her think that. Overconfidence leads to mistakes. 20 minutes passed, then 30, then an hour. Finally, Judge Reeves returned. I've considered the arguments from both sides, he said. This is a complex issue with valid points on each side. Marcus held his breath. However, I find that the circumstances of this case are extraordinary. A woman left evidence for her husband anticipating that she might be harmed. That evidence revealed serious crimes, including the possible murder of the woman herself. To exclude this evidence on a technicality would be to reward the very behavior it exposes. Victoria's lawyers shifted uncomfortably. Therefore, the motion to suppress is denied. The evidence will be allowed. Marcus felt relief flood through him. Your Honor, we will appeal, Blake said. That is your right, but until an appellate court says otherwise, my ruling stands. The hearing was adjourned. Victoria was led out of the courtroom. As she passed Marcus, she leaned close. This changes nothing, she whispered. Patterson is dead. Caroline won't testify. You have documents but no witnesses. The murder charge will fail. Maybe, but you're still going to prison. For how long? A few years for fraud. I'll be out before Noah starts school, and then we'll see who wins. You'll never get near him again. Won't I? Victoria smiled that cold smile. I have a very long memory, Marcus, and all the time in the world to plan. The guards pulled her away. Marcus watched her go, his heart pounding. She was right. Even if she was convicted, it wouldn't be for murder. She would serve a few years, maybe less, with good behavior. And then she would be free. Free to come after Noah. Free to finish what she started. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He stood at Noah's bedroom door, watching his son sleep. The boy was sprawled across the bed, one arm hanging over the edge, his stuffed bear clutched in the other hand. So innocent, so vulnerable. How could he protect Noah from Victoria, not just now, but for the rest of their lives? She would never stop. She would never give up. She would wait and plan and scheme until she found an opening. Elena found him there at 3 a.m. You're going to exhaust yourself. I can't stop thinking about what she said. What did she say? That she'll be out in a few years, that she has a long memory, that this isn't over. Elena was quiet for a moment. Do you believe her? Yes, Victoria doesn't make empty threats. When she says she's going to do something, she does it. Then we prepare. We build a life that's strong enough to withstand whatever she throws at us. How? I don't know yet, but we figure it out together. Marcus turned to look at her. Why are you still here, Elena? Really? You could have walked away months ago, found a normal job, a normal life. Why stay with someone who has a target on his back? Elena's eyes glistened in the dim light. Because I made a choice. The night I decided to speak up about Noah, I made a choice. I chose to be the kind of person who does what's right even when it's hard, even when it's dangerous. That choice could cost you everything. Or it could give me everything. She stepped closer. Marcus, before I came to your house, I was drifting. Working jobs I hated. Watching my sister succeed while I cleaned other people's messes. I had no purpose, no meaning, no reason to get up in the morning. And now I have all of that. I have Noah who lights up when he sees me. I have you who makes me feel like I matter. I have a fight worth fighting, a family worth protecting. Her voice cracked. For the first time in my life, I belong somewhere. Do you understand what that means? Marcus reached out and pulled her into his arms. She fit perfectly against him, like she had always been there. I understand, he whispered. They stood there in the darkness, holding each other, while Noah slept peacefully in the room behind them. The trial began 3 weeks later. The prosecution presented their case methodically, the financial records showing decades of fraud, the offshore accounts hidden in shell companies, the wire transfers to politicians and judges. But the murder charge hung over everything. Without Patterson's testimony, the prosecutors struggled to connect Victoria directly to Sarah's death. They presented the payment record, but Victoria's lawyers argued it was for legitimate medical services. They presented Sarah's letter, but the defense claimed it was speculation, a grieving woman's paranoid fears. On the 4th day, something unexpected happened. The prosecution called a new witness. The people called Dr. Michael Torres. A man in his 50s took the stand. Marcus had never seen him before. Dr. Torres, what is your profession? I'm a forensic accountant. I specialize in tracing financial transactions. And what were you asked to examine in this case? The payment of $500,000 from Victoria Sterling to Dr. James Patterson. What did you find? The payment was structured to avoid detection. It was routed through 3 shell companies before reaching Dr. Patterson's account. That's not consistent with a legitimate medical payment. Victoria's lawyer objected. Speculation, Your Honor. It's expert opinion, the prosecutor countered. I'll allow it, the judge said. Dr. Torres continued. In my experience, this kind of layered transaction is only used when someone wants to hide the true nature of a payment. If it were for medical services, there would be no reason to obscure it. Did you find any other unusual payments around the same time? Yes. 2 days after Sarah Sterling's death, there was another payment. $50,000 to the hospital administrator who oversaw the maternity ward. The courtroom buzzed. And what was that payment for? According to the records, it was a charitable donation to the hospital's renovation fund, but it was made through the same shell company structure as the payment to Dr. Patterson. What's your conclusion? Someone was paying to make sure Sarah Sterling's death was not investigated. Victoria's lawyer jumped up. Objection, this is pure speculation. The witness has no evidence of wrongdoing. The transactions speak for themselves, Dr. Torres said calmly. In 30 years of forensic accounting, I have never seen legitimate payments structured this way. The judge overruled the objection. Marcus felt hope stirring. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't an eyewitness. But it was something, a thread that connected Victoria to Sarah's death. After court adjourned, Rachel pulled Marcus aside. That was unexpected. Where did Torres come from? The prosecution's been building a case behind the scenes. They didn't tell us because they didn't want Victoria's team to find out. Is it enough? I don't know, but it's more than we had yesterday. The trial continued for another 2 weeks. The defense presented their case. Character witnesses who spoke of Victoria's philanthropy. Business associates who praised her acumen. Experts who questioned the forensic evidence. And then Victoria took the stand. It was a risk. Everyone knew it. But Victoria had always been her own best advocate, and she clearly believed she could charm the jury the way she had charmed everyone else her entire life. Mrs. Sterling, her lawyer began, you've heard the accusations against you. How do you respond? They're lies, Victoria said, her voice steady and clear. Every single one of them. I am not a criminal. I am not a murderer. I am a businesswoman who has spent 60 years building an empire, providing jobs, contributing to this community. What about the payments? Oh, the offshore accounts. Standard business practices, tax optimization. Every major corporation does it. The difference is I'm being targeted because my son chose to believe the fantasies of a dead woman over the reality of what our family has accomplished. And the payment to Dr. Patterson. James was our family physician for 20 years. He provided consulting services, medical advice, treatments. $500,000 over 2 decades is not unusual for that level of care. But the payment was made 2 days before your daughter-in-law's death. Victoria's eyes glistened with what looked like tears. Sarah's pregnancy was complicated. I was worried about her. I asked James to be on standby to do everything possible to ensure a safe delivery. The payment was for his availability, his expertise, his readiness to intervene if needed. And yet she died. Yes, Victoria's voice broke. Despite everything, she died, and I have lived with that grief every day since. Sarah was like a daughter to me. I loved her, and to be accused of killing her... She dabbed at her eyes. It's more than any mother should have to bear. Marcus watched his mother's performance with cold fury. She was good. She had always been good. The tears, the trembling voice, the wounded maternal love. All of it perfectly calibrated to win sympathy. But then the prosecutor stood for cross-examination. Mrs. Sterling, you say you loved Sarah, but isn't it true that you opposed her marriage to your son? I had concerns initially, but I came to accept her. Concerns about what? Her background, her lack of social standing, the usual concerns a mother has. You called her a gold digger in front of witnesses. Victoria's expression flickered. That was taken out of context. You told your son she would ruin the Sterling name. I was wrong, I admitted that. Did you also admit it when Sarah told you she had found evidence of fraud when she threatened to expose you? She never threatened me. We have her letter saying exactly that. A letter that could have been written by anyone. A letter verified by FBI handwriting experts. Victoria's composure slipped for just a moment. Sarah was troubled. She was paranoid. She imagined conspiracies where none existed. So troubled that she predicted her own death. So paranoid that the exact scenario she described actually happened. Coincidence. That's quite a coincidence, Mrs. Sterling. She writes that she fears for her life. 2 days later, she's dead. She writes that you'll try to control her son. For 2 years, your hired nanny drugs that child into submission. She writes that the proof is in a safe deposit box. That proof reveals decades of criminal activity. I am not a criminal. Then how do you explain the offshore accounts, the shell companies, the payments to politicians, legal tax strategies, legal political donations, routed through 17 different countries to avoid detection? My accountants handled those details. I trusted them. So you're claiming ignorance. The woman who built a $4 billion empire didn't know how her own money was being moved. Victoria's eyes hardened. The mask was slipping. I knew what I needed to know. And you needed to know how to hide payments to the man who killed your daughter-in-law. I did not kill Sarah. Then who did Mrs. Sterling, if not you, who... I don't know. It was a medical complication. These things happen. They happen more often when someone pays $500,000 to make sure they happen. That's not true. Then why is Dr. Patterson dead? Why did he commit suicide rather than testify? I don't know anything about that. You didn't arrange for him to be killed in his cell. Objection, Victoria's lawyer shouted. There's no evidence linking my client to Dr. Patterson's death. Sustained. Move on, counselor. But the damage was done. The jury was watching Victoria with new eyes. The grieving mother act had cracked. Underneath, they could see something else. Something cold. Something calculating. The prosecutor returned to his seat. No further questions. Victoria left the stand. As she walked past Marcus, her mask fully restored, she whispered just loud enough for him to hear. Nice try, but it won't be enough. The jury deliberated for 4 days. Marcus couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on anything but the waiting. On the morning of the 5th day, the call came. The jury had reached a verdict. Marcus sat in the courtroom, Elena on one side, Rachel on the other. His heart was pounding so hard he could feel it in his throat. Victoria was brought in. She looked composed, confident. The mask firmly in place. The jury foreman stood. On the charge of wire fraud, how do you find Maid guilty? Marcus exhaled. On the charge of money laundering, how do you find Kyle guilty? On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, how do you find... The courtroom held its breath. Not guilty. Marcus felt his heart drop. Victoria's lawyers erupted in quiet celebration. Victoria herself showed no emotion, just that same cold satisfaction. The judge thanked the jury and scheduled sentencing for the following month. Victoria was led away. As she passed Marcus, she smiled. I told you, she whispered. The murder charge always fails without witnesses. Marcus watched her go, his fists clenched at his sides. Elena took his hand. It's not over. She's still going to prison. For fraud, for money laundering, not for killing Sarah. But she's going away, that's something. It's not enough. It will never be enough. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Mr. Sterling, how do you feel about the verdict? Mr. Sterling, will you pursue civil charges? Mr. Sterling, do you believe your mother killed your wife? Marcus stopped, turned to face the cameras. My mother was found guilty on 10 counts of fraud and money laundering. She will go to prison. Justice has been served in part. But not for the murder charge. No, not for murder. The jury didn't have enough evidence. A key witness died under suspicious circumstances. Another witness changed her story. The system worked the way it's supposed to work. Do you believe she's guilty? Marcus looked directly into the camera. I believe my wife was murdered. I believe my mother paid for that murder to happen, and I believe that one day the full truth will come out. What about your son? What happens now? My son is safe. He's healthy. He's loved. And he will never ever be under Victoria Sterling's control again. Marcus turned and walked away, Elena at his side. Behind him, the cameras kept rolling. The reporters kept shouting questions. The circus continued. But Marcus was done performing. He had said what he needed to say. Now it was time to go home. Time to be a father. Time to start the long, slow process of healing. 1 year after the verdict, Marcus stood on the beach watching Noah chase seagulls across the sand. They had moved to Malibu 3 months after Victoria's sentencing. 15 years. That was what the judge had given her. 15 years in federal prison for fraud and money laundering. With good behavior, she could be out in 10. 10 years. It seemed like forever. It also seemed like nothing at all. The mansion in Beverly Hills had been sold. Sterling Industries had been dismantled, its assets liquidated, its employees scattered to other companies. The Sterling name, once synonymous with power and prestige, was now synonymous with scandal and corruption. Marcus didn't care. He had kept enough money to buy this small house by the ocean, enough to live comfortably without working. The rest he had donated to charity. Sarah's charity. The one she had wanted to start before she died. The Sterling Foundation for Children now helped hundreds of kids across California. Kids who had been abused, kids who had been neglected, kids who had been failed by the people who were supposed to protect them. It was Sarah's legacy, the only good thing to come from the Sterling name. Daddy, look. Noah came running back, his hands cupped around something. I found a crab. Marcus knelt down to examine the tiny creature. That's a hermit crab, buddy. See how he lives in that shell. Can I keep him? He belongs to the ocean. We should put him back so we can find his family. Noah thought about this for a moment. Okay, but I want to show Elena first. They walked back to the house together, Noah chattering about crabs and seashells and the sandcastle he wanted to build tomorrow. Marcus listened, his heart full in a way it hadn't been in years. Elena was in the kitchen when they came in. She was cooking dinner, something that smelled like garlic and tomatoes and home. Look what I found. Noah held up his treasure. Elena leaned down to examine it. Oh, he's beautiful. What's his name? Shelley, because he has a shell. That's a perfect name. Noah carried Shelley to the back porch to show him the garden before returning him to the ocean. Marcus watched him go, then turned to Elena. How's dinner coming? Almost ready. How was the beach? Perfect. He's getting so fast. I can barely keep up with him anymore. Elena smiled. It was a real smile, warm and genuine, the kind that reached her eyes. She had been smiling like that more often lately. Rachel called while you were out. Marcus tensed. What did she want? She didn't say. Just asked you to call her back. Calls from Rachel were never just social. In the year since the trial, every call had brought news. Appeals filed. Motions denied. Evidence reviewed. The legal machinery grinding slowly forward. Marcus picked up his phone and dialed. Marcus, thanks for calling back. Rachel's voice was tense. We need to talk. What happened? Victoria's appeal was denied. Again, but that's not why I'm calling. Then why, a pause. The FBI contacted me this morning. They've been investigating Dr. Patterson's death. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. And they found evidence, cell phone records showing calls between Patterson and someone inside the detention center. Payment records showing money transferred to a guard's account 2 days before Patterson died. Victoria arranged his murder. It looks that way. The guard has been arrested. He's cooperating. He says Victoria promised him $200,000 to make Patterson's death look like suicide. Marcus gripped the phone. Can they charge her? They already have. Conspiracy to commit murder. If convicted, she's looking at life without parole. Marcus closed his eyes. Life without parole. The words echoed in his mind. Marcus, are you there? I'm here. I never thought... I know, this doesn't bring Sarah back, but it's something. When is the trial? 6 months, maybe longer. But Marcus, there's something else you should know. What? Victoria wants to see you. She's requesting a visit. No. Just hear me out. She says she has information about Sarah's death, something that wasn't revealed during the first trial. She's lying. She's manipulating. Probably, but what if she's not? What if there's something we don't know? Marcus thought about it. A year of peace, a year of healing, a year of building a new life without the shadow of Victoria Sterling hanging over them. Did he want to open that door again? I'll think about it. That's all I'm asking. He hung up. Elena was watching him from across the kitchen. What is it? Victoria's being charged with Patterson's murder. She could get life. Elena's eyes widened. Oh my God. And she wants to see me. She says she has information about Sarah. You're not going. I don't know. Marcus? Elena crossed the room and took his hands. She's a manipulator. That's what she does. She finds weaknesses and exploits them. Don't give her that power. What if she knows something? What if there's something about Sarah's death that we missed? Then let the FBI find it. Let the prosecutors handle it. You don't need to be part of this anymore. But what if I do? What if I owe it to Sarah to hear what Victoria has to say? Elena was quiet for a moment. Is that really why you want to go for Sarah, or is it for yourself? Marcus didn't answer. He didn't know the answer. 3 days later, he drove to the federal detention center where Victoria was being held. Elena had begged him not to go. Noah had cried when he left. But something was pulling Marcus toward this meeting, something he couldn't explain or resist. He needed to see her. He needed to understand. The visiting room was cold and gray. Metal tables, plastic chairs, guards at every door. Victoria was brought in wearing handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. She looked older than the last time Marcus had seen her. Thinner, more fragile, but her eyes were the same. Cold, calculating, dangerous. Marcus. She sat down across from him. Thank you for coming. What do you want? Straight to business. That's my son. A ghost of a smile. I wanted to see you, to talk, mother to son. We stopped being mother and son the day I found out what you did. What I did, I built an empire. I created wealth. I gave you everything. You killed my wife. Victoria's expression didn't change. I didn't kill Sarah? The evidence says otherwise. The evidence says I paid a doctor. It doesn't prove I ordered a murder. Then who did? Victoria leaned forward. That's what I wanted to tell you. Something I should have told you years ago. Something that changes everything. I'm listening. Sarah wasn't murdered, Marcus. Not the way you think. What does that mean? Victoria's voice dropped. The complications during her delivery were real, unexpected. No one caused them, but when they happened, a choice had to be made. What kind of choice? The doctors could save Sarah, or they could save Noah. Not both. There wasn't time for both. Marcus felt the room spin. You're lying. I'm not. I was there, in the hospital, in the room next to the operating theater. Dr. Patterson came to me and said, Mrs. Sterling, there are complications. We can only save one of them. Which one? He asked you to choose. Yes, and I chose Noah. Marcus couldn't breathe. You had no right. I had every right. I was the only family member there. You were stuck in traffic. Remember, you didn't make it in time. The decision fell to me. That's not a decision you get to make. Someone had to make it. Would you rather the doctors had flipped a coin? Victoria's voice hardened. I did what I thought was right. I chose the baby. I chose your son. And the payment to Patterson, to keep him quiet, to keep this from ever coming out. I knew how you would react. I knew you would blame me. So I paid him to say it was just complications. Unavoidable. Natural. Marcus's head was spinning. Why are you telling me this now? Because I'm going to die in here. The new charges, the appeal, the stress. My heart isn't what it used to be. The doctors give me 2 years, maybe 3. You expect me to feel sorry for you. No, I expect you to understand. I didn't murder Sarah. I made an impossible choice to save your son. Everything I did after that, the cover-up, the lies, was to protect you from the truth. The truth is you let her die. The truth is I saved Noah. The truth is your wife was dying either way, and I chose to give you a son instead of a corpse. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell over. You're a monster. I'm a mother. I did what mothers do. I protected my family. Your family. You drugged your own grandson for 2 years. To keep him safe. To keep him manageable. To make sure he didn't end up in your care while you were drowning in grief and self-pity. You had no right. I had every right. I was the only one paying attention. You couldn't even look at that boy. You hid in your office while strangers raised him. What was I supposed to do? Let him grow up neglected. Let him become another broken Sterling like his father. Marcus felt rage boiling in his veins. But underneath the rage was something else. Something that felt terribly like doubt. Had Victoria made the impossible choice? Had she really saved Noah at the cost of Sarah? Or was this just another manipulation, another lie designed to twist his mind? I don't believe you, Marcus said. I don't care if you believe me. I'm telling you the truth. For the first time in years, I'm telling you the absolute truth. Why now? Why tell me this now? Because I'm tired. Because I'm dying. Because I want to go to my grave knowing that at least one person understands what really happened. And the guard Patterson's murder, Victoria's expression flickered. Patterson was going to talk. He was going to tell everyone about the choice I made. How do you think that would have played in the press? Grandmother chooses grandchild over daughter-in-law. They would have crucified me. So you killed him to protect yourself. I killed him to protect the secret, to protect you from the truth. Don't pretend you did any of this for me. I've done everything for you, Marcus, my entire life. Every decision, every sacrifice, every crime. All of it was for you and for this family. Marcus stared at his mother. This woman who had shaped his entire existence, who had controlled every aspect of his life, who had destroyed everyone who threatened her power. I'm done, he said. With you. With all of it. I came here hoping you would finally tell the truth. And maybe you did. But it doesn't matter. Nothing you say can change what you've done. I saved your son. You stole my wife. She was dying anyway. We'll never know that, will we? Because you made the choice. You decided who lived and who died. That's not something a mother does. That's something a god does. And you're not a god, Victoria. You're just a woman who confused power with love. Marcus walked toward the door. Marcus, Victoria's voice cracked. Please, don't leave like this. I'm your mother. He stopped, turned. No, you're not. A mother protects. A mother nurtures. A mother puts her children first, not her legacy, not her empire, not her reputation. You never did any of those things. I tried. You failed. He walked out. The door closed behind him. He never saw Victoria again. 2 months later, Victoria Sterling died in her cell. The official cause was heart failure, but Marcus knew the truth. She had died of something far more fundamental. She had died because she had finally run out of people to control, to manipulate, to destroy. She had died alone, unloved, unmourned. Marcus didn't attend the funeral. Neither did Noah. Neither did anyone who had ever truly known her. The Sterling Empire was gone. The Sterling name was extinct. And Victoria Sterling, who had spent her entire life building power and crushing anyone who stood in her way, was buried in a plot no one would ever visit. It was Marcus thought exactly what she deserved. 6 months after Victoria's death, Marcus asked Elena to marry him. It was a Tuesday morning. Noah was at preschool. They were sitting on the back porch watching the waves roll and drinking coffee the way they did every morning. I've been thinking, Marcus said. About what? About us, about what we are, about what I want us to be. Elena set down her coffee. And what do you want us to be? Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside was a ring. Simple, elegant, nothing like the ostentatious diamonds Victoria had always preferred. I want you to be my wife. Elena stared at the ring, then at Marcus, then back at the ring. Marcus, I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other 2 years. But those 2 years have been the best of my life. You saved my son. You saved me. You showed me what it means to be part of a real family. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll spend the rest of your life with me and Noah. Say you'll let me spend the rest of my life trying to deserve you. Elena's eyes filled with tears. I'm just a cleaning lady. You're the woman who walked into my house and saw the truth when everyone else was blind. You're the woman who risked everything to protect a child you barely knew. You're the bravest, kindest, most incredible person I've ever met. I don't come from money. I don't have a fancy education. I don't know which fork to use at dinner parties. I don't care about forks. I don't care about money. I don't care about any of the things that used to matter to me. All I care about is you. Elena laughed through her tears. You're serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. She looked at the ring again, then at Marcus. Then she reached out and cupped his face in her hands. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Marcus slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. They got married 3 months later on the beach behind their house. It was a small ceremony. Just Noah Thomas, who had flown in from Ireland, Rachel, a few friends they had made in their new life. No photographers, no press, no spectacle. Noah served as ring bearer. He walked down the aisle with exaggerated seriousness, holding the pillow like it contained the most precious treasure in the world. Which in a way it did. Elena wore a simple white dress. No veil, no train. Just her beautiful and radiant walking toward Marcus with the sun setting behind her. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. Not tears of grief this time. Tears of joy. Tears of gratitude. Tears of finally finding his way home. "You're crying," Elena whispered as she reached him. "Happy tears." "Me too." They exchanged vows, simple words, honest words. Promises to love, to honor, to protect. Promises to be there always, no matter what. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Noah cheered so loud that the seagulls scattered. Marcus kissed his wife. His wife. The word felt strange and wonderful. Then he picked up Noah and held him close. "We're a family now," Noah said. "A real family." "Yes, buddy, we're a real family. Forever, forever." A year passed, then 2, then 5. Noah grew from a toddler into a boy, bright, curious, full of energy and questions and an endless capacity for wonder. He started school, made friends, learned to read, to swim, to ride a bike. The shadows of his early years faded. The drugs, the neglect, the hollow-eyed stillness. All of it replaced by the vibrant, joyful chaos of a normal childhood. Marcus watched his son grow. With a mixture of pride and awe. This boy who had almost been lost. This boy who had been saved by a woman who cleaned houses for a living. This boy who had Sarah's eyes and Elena's laugh and a future full of possibilities. Elena settled into motherhood like she had been born for it. She helped Noah with homework, kissed scraped knees, mediated disputes with friends. She was patient when Marcus was frustrated, firm when Noah needed boundaries, loving always. She also went back to school, got her nursing degree, started working at a children's hospital helping kids who had been through trauma, kids like Noah had been. Marcus sold the last of his sterling stock and used the money to expand the foundation. They opened centers in 5 cities, hired counselors and doctors and social workers, helped thousands of children find safety and healing. It was Sarah's dream, Elena's mission, Marcus's redemption, and it was working. Every day it was working. On Noah's 7th birthday, they threw a party on the beach. Kids ran everywhere, playing games, eating cake, shrieking with laughter. Parents chatted in small groups. The sun sparkled on the water. Marcus stood apart from the crowd watching his son. Noah was at the center of everything, opening presents, hugging friends, radiating the kind of pure, uncomplicated joy that only children possess. Elena came to stand beside him. "What are you thinking about?" "Sarah, what she would think if she could see this." "I think she would be proud." "You really believe that?" "I know it." Elena took his hand. "You became the father she always knew you could be. You built the family she dreamed of. You honored her memory in the best possible way." Marcus squeezed her hand. "I couldn't have done it without you." "Yes, you could have. You just needed someone to show you how." "Same thing." Elena laughed. Then she grew serious. "Marcus, there's something I need to tell you." "What is it?" She took a breath. "I'm pregnant." Marcus stared at her. "What?" "I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. I found out yesterday. I wanted to wait until Noah's party to tell you. We're having a baby." "We're having a baby." Marcus felt the world tilt and reform around him. A baby, another child, another chance. He pulled Elena into his arms and held her tight. "Are you happy?" she asked. "Happy doesn't even begin to cover it." They stood there holding each other while the party swirled around them. 7 months later, their daughter was born. They named her Sarah. She had Marcus's hair and Elena's smile and a cry that could wake the neighbors 3 houses down. She was perfect. Noah was fascinated by his baby sister. He wanted to hold her, constantly feed her, teach her things she wouldn't understand for years. "She's so small," he said, peering into the crib. "Was I ever that small?" "Even smaller," Marcus said. "You were early. The doctors had to keep you in the hospital for a week." "Did Mommy Sarah see me?" Marcus felt his heart clench. They had told Noah about Sarah as he grew older, about his first mother, about what had happened, about why things were the way they were. "Yes, buddy. She held you in her arms right after you were born. She looked at you and she said you were the most beautiful thing she had ever seen." Do you think she's watching from heaven? Marcus thought about it. He wasn't sure what he believed about heaven, but he believed in something. A continuation, a presence, a love that didn't end with death. I think she's watching, he said. I think she sees how big you've gotten, how smart you are, how kind. And I think she's very, very proud. Noah nodded solemnly. Then he looked at baby Sarah. I'm going to protect her. The way Mommy Sarah wanted you to protect me? That's a big responsibility. I know, but I'm brave, like Mommy Sarah. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. Yes, you are. You're the bravest person I know. Noah beamed. 10 years after the trial, Marcus received a letter. It came to the house in a plain white envelope. No return address, postmarked from somewhere in Nevada. Inside was a single sheet of paper covered in small, neat handwriting. Mr. Sterling, you don't know me, but I know you. I knew your mother. I worked for her for many years doing things I'm not proud of. I'm writing because I'm dying and I need to clear my conscience before I go. Your wife Sarah wasn't supposed to die. That was never the plan. Your mother just wanted to scare her, to make her understand the consequences of going public with what she had found. But Dr. Patterson panicked. He gave her too much of something. I don't know what exactly. I just know that by the time anyone realized what was happening, it was too late. Your mother covered it up because she had to, because exposing the truth would have destroyed everything. But she didn't order Sarah's death. She ordered a complication, a warning, not a murder. I'm not telling you this to defend her. What she did was evil. But it wasn't the evil you think it was. It was a different evil. Smaller in some ways, worse in others. I'm telling you because you deserve to know the truth. All of it. Even the parts that don't fit the story you've been telling yourself. I hope you find peace. I hope your son has a good life. I hope that someday you can forgive your mother not for her sake, but for yours. A friend. Marcus read the letter 3 times. Then he walked outside, struck a match, and burned it. Elena found him standing by the fire pit, watching the ashes scatter in the wind. What was that, the past? What did it say? Marcus thought about the letter, about Victoria, about Sarah, about the truth in all its complicated, painful layers. It doesn't matter, he said finally. None of it matters anymore. Are you sure? I'm sure. He turned to face her. The past is gone. Victoria is gone. The only thing that matters is right now. This moment. This family. This life we've built. Elena studied his face. You're at peace? I am. Finally, after everything, I'm at peace. She took his hand. Then let's go inside. Sarah's about to wake up and Noah wants to show you his science project. They walked back to the house together. Through the window, Marcus could see Noah at the kitchen table, papers spread everywhere, working on something with intense concentration. Baby Sarah was in her high chair, babbling happily at nothing. This was his life now. Homework and diapers and bedtime stories. Beach days and birthday parties and lazy Sunday mornings. The ordinary, extraordinary miracle of a family that loved each other. He thought about the journey that had brought him here. The grief and the rage. The betrayal and the loss. The moment when Elena had walked into his kitchen and asked to speak with him about his son. The moment everything changed. He thought about Sarah, his first wife. The woman who had seen the good in him when he couldn't see it himself. She had wanted this for him. This healing. This happiness. This redemption. He thought about Victoria, who had confused power with love and control with care. Who had destroyed everything she touched in her desperate need to shape the world according to her vision. Who had died alone, unloved, with nothing but regrets to keep her company. And he thought about himself. The man he had been. The man he had become. The man he was still becoming. He wasn't perfect. He never would be. But he was trying. Every day he was trying. That was all anyone could do. That night, after the kids were asleep, Marcus and Elena sat on the back porch watching the stars. Do you ever think about what would have happened? Elena asked. If I had never said anything, if I had just kept my head down and minded my own business, all the time. Noah would still be drugged. Caroline would still be in charge. Your mother would still be free. And I would still be hiding in my office, pretending I didn't have a son. You would have figured it out eventually. Maybe, maybe not. Some people never figure it out. They go their whole lives missing what's right in front of them. Elena leaned against his shoulder. I'm glad I spoke up. So am I, more than you'll ever know. They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the waves, feeling the cool breeze breathing the salt air. What do you want? Elena asked suddenly. For the future. For us. For the kids. Marcus thought about it. I want them to be happy, really happy, not the fake happy that comes from money and status, the real happy that comes from love and purpose and connection. What else? I want them to be brave, like Sarah was, like you are. I want them to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when it costs them. And for us, Marcus turned to look at his wife. This woman who had changed everything. This woman who had given him a second chance at life. I want us to grow old together. I want us to be the kind of grandparents who spoil our grandkids and tell embarrassing stories about their parents. I want us to sit on this porch 50 years from now, still holding hands, still watching the stars. Elena smiled. I want that too. Then we'll make it happen. Promise. Marcus kissed her forehead. I promise. They stayed on the porch until the moon rose high above the ocean. Then they went inside, checked on the children, and went to bed. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new joys, new opportunities to love and grow and become better versions of themselves. But tonight they rested. Tonight they were at peace, and that was enough. Marcus Sterling had spent the first half of his life chasing shadows, power, wealth, success, all the things his mother had taught him to value, all the things that had nearly destroyed him. He had lost his wife. He had abandoned his son. He had closed his eyes to the truth until a cleaning lady with nothing to lose opened them for him. But the second half of his life would be different. He would be present. He would be engaged. He would be the father Noah deserved, and the husband Elena deserved, and the man Sarah had always believed he could be. The past was gone. Victoria was gone. The Sterling Empire was gone. But the future was bright, and Marcus Sterling was finally ready to live it. Not all heroes wear capes. Some of them carry mops and cleaning supplies. Some of them work minimum wage jobs and send money home to their families. Some of them see a child in danger and choose to speak up even when everyone tells them to stay quiet. Elena Martinez was that kind of hero. She had walked into a house full of secrets and lies, and she had found the courage to tell the truth. She had saved a boy she barely knew. She had transformed a broken man into a loving father. She had built a family from the ashes of destruction. And she had proved something that Victoria Sterling never understood. Love is stronger than power. Truth is stronger than lies. And one person, one ordinary person, with an extraordinary heart can change everything. The Sterling mansion was gone demolished and replaced by a community center that bore Sarah's name. The Sterling fortune was gone, distributed to charities that helped children in need. The Sterling legacy was gone, buried along with Victoria in a grave no one visited, but a new legacy had risen in its place. A legacy of love, a legacy of courage, a legacy of second chances. Marcus Sterling finally understood what his first wife had known all along. Family isn't about blood or money or power. Family is about showing up, being present, loving fiercely. Family is about choosing each other every single day, and that was exactly what Marcus intended to do for the rest of his life.